Hello, everyone. This is the Easy Allies podcast. I'm your moderator, Kyle Bossman, and joining us this week, Michael Damiani.
Hello.
Daniel Bloodworth.
I'm back.
Brendan Jones.
He's back.
And on the Switcher, Ian Heath.
We're all back.
We're all back. Let's play Recruit Me. This is where patrons of Easy Allies submit RPG characters to join our party. This submission is from Rob Bob Will.
Mm-hmm.
I am an honorable knight who is on a journey to defeat evil, but I also have a pleasant sense of humor and will probably laugh at your jokes. I have a trusty steed named Harvax, who is strong and stoic. I can only move like a chess knight in an L pattern, which means if we are traveling in any tricky terrain such as caves, there's a high probability that I will get stuck and have to spend a few extra moves maneuvering to get out of a corner during crucial battles. My name is Knight Seraphis. Would you have me join this party?
This is an honor play. So if we don't, just because of the movement thing, what heartless souls are we that we're not helping this knight fulfill his goals?
This is a matter
purely
of life and
because
death,
he's going to be facing a wall.
It's not a
in the most
popularity
dire
contest. This is our
circumstances.
RPG party, Jones.
I know. The other question that I have is obviously everyone who survives the roll at the end but is not in our party instantly becomes a villain.
Yes.
How do we rationalize that this person has been spurred by us and then all of a sudden is, even though they're on a quest to make the world a better place, are so mad at us for not including them.
I guess I guess on a journey to defeat evil. So a lot of people who are evil don't believe they are evil. And so like from his own perspective, we could become evil if we say no. In fact, we probably are.
I view it's kind of like the robot that couldn't go through the caves, like as long as if we go in and we don't have that person, it doesn't seem like someone we're all dead because we don't have that person. It's like as long as they're not going to get permanently stuck in there. If we get to an important battle and they're not around, we'll make do. It's not that big of a deal for me. I'm okay with them being in the party.
Damiani, how do you feel about Knight Seraphis?
This feels like a character who belongs more in something like The Princess Bride and in our party. So, the L-shaped thing is problematic at best for battles and stuff, in close quarters and stuff like that. And everything else about the characters is too vanilla for me. Too bland and upfront. No
hurts
shock
our rep.
No shock value. No
get it.
variety. It's just here you go, cookie cutter.
Are you saying that the characters in Princess Bride are vanilla?
No, I'm talking about the concept of the L-shaped pattern maneuver. Seems like it would fit into like a character in the Princess Bride. Like they just come across the next character and it's just like, oh wow, you're like an upstanding knight. Like, you'll be helpful in our our
Zoolander
adventure.
can't
And
turn
it's
right.
I can't do this. It's like. That's why you're like, no one wants you as their knight. Oh, but we'll have you in our party because that's what they are.
It's a little Shrek-like.
I was trying to avoid Shrek.
It's more Shrek or Holy Grail. It's like Holy Grail.
Yeah.
Thank you. It's
I will
Holy
not
Grail.
have
Holy
the-
Grail is what we're going with.
The good,
Yeah, we're going with Holy Grail.
the good name of Princess Bride shall not be besmirched in this house.
Again, Daniel Bloodworth. How are you feeling about Knight Seraphis? We're kind of split here right now.
Yeah. I mean, he's a good guy. It's a good sense of humor, right?
Yeah, he's got a good sense of
Yeah.
humor.
We'll most likely laugh at your jokes, Blake.
Yeah.
Yeah. And that too. Yeah. I think it would be funny just to see him moving around.
Yeah.
Like we're at an inn and he has to get up and use the restroom because of his L-shaped pattern. He keeps bumping into everyone else's beds.
Yeah.
But he means well.
So,
I feel like you'll laugh
he's
for
out to
the
fight evil.
first 5
it'll be
times,
fun.
and then you're just going to be like,
Yeah, these are permanent party members.
Sir Humford, so annoying. What did their name? I don't remember what their name was. Bill,
Knight
Rob.
Seraphis.
Okay.
Seraphis.
Rob Bob Will is the person who
Okay.
submitted this.
Well,
has no part in any of this
sure.
at this point.
So Seraphis was like, seriously, man, like, do we have to travel with them anymore?
Right.
So
yeah.
embarrassing.
Like, Jones, I think it's a little unfair to say to this person we'll leave him behind. Like, a robot is, not sentient. You know what I mean?
Sure.
So, like, I have an easier time leaving a robot behind than I do a human being.
But he sounds valiant. So like I think if he's facing a cave wall and we're like in the middle of a big battle,
Yes.
he's not going to expect us to wait on him for us. Certainly if danger goes his way, I will try to stop it. But like we're not going to wait. Like, come on, Seraphis, join the battle. It's like, hey, if you can, great. If not, we understand.
Damiani, are you just wait? Oh, go ahead.
Well,
Ian.
here's my thing is like they specifically mentioned chess, right? So I think you guys are thinking about Knight Seraph is all wrong. It's not a hindrance. You just have to use them strategically.
Yeah.
You know, you just have to plan your moves.
I knew this was gonna come up.
Damian, are you
Damian's
swayed at
not
all,
sold.
or are you
It's all
still
mood.
No,
no?
I'm not sold on
Yeah.
this.
Oh, I guess he's not. in.
Damiani's the villain.
We'll see if Night Surface survives at the end of this podcast. Has to be unanimous. That's the rule. Jones, would you please begin corrections music? There was a Fortnite controller bundle for the PS4, and that was a theory of like why the PS4 Black controller is the most successful controller of all time. One of them. A lot of people said a lot of families
Wait,
like to
if
buy.
it was a bundle, it wouldn't be counted, right? That's not.
It still would count, yeah, because MPDs count bundles.
Okay.
That's why the best-selling exclusive game of all time was Wii Fit, right?
Oh, not We Fit. It's
So Wii Sports, We Play.
We
is the
Play.
one
Yes,
that-
right, exactly. So same
came
sort
with
of
the
deal.
controller,
Yeah.
But that's the thing, though. That counted as the game sale. It didn't count as a controller sale.
Probably did
right?
that at the same time.
I feel like the MPD at that time said like controller sales were, like through the roof.
Yeah.
For that. But I mean, they were also selling really well just on their own.
I think they doubled down. Also, like, you can't count that as a Fortnite sale.
Right. That's kind of
free to
Yeah.
play. So that was a theory. A lot of people say like people buy multiples for Minecraft. So a lot of people said like they just buy multiples to resell because PS3 controllers are a hot commodity right now. A lot of people said they can use them on it. You can use a PS4 controller on your PC. So lots of theories out there that we didn't even think of. So they're out there. 1995 was the first year of E3 and the first year Sony had anything to show at a thing. So they weren't even at CES when it was CES. Sorry, when video games were at CES, they weren't there. So they exploded onto the scene the first year of E3 and helped establish E3 as a big deal.
Well, apparently Atari Jaguar was there too.
With a VR headset. Thank you, comments. I had no
and
idea that
Metal
was
Gear
ever
Solid
involved.
is still one of like the primo E3 moments of in history. So it's like early PlayStation, just slayed at E3.
Yeah. Finally, we said, wouldn't it be bad manners if Sony does have some sort of video shown during E3? Apparently, they already said they won't do that. PlayStation Senior Vice President of Communications Jennifer Clark told Game Informer, "We will not activate or hold a press conference around E3."
Yeah. I thought we covered that, but I guess maybe not too clear.
Yeah. End corrections music, please. They will not activate a press conference. You're right. You did say so, Blood, because I think you used the word conference, and like that didn't necessarily say they won't make a video or something. Yeah. But it does sound like they don't want to do anything around that time. 2, kickoff news.
Interesting to see what their Twitter account does that week.
Right.
Yes.
In general.
Surely tweets are
the
going
YouTube
out those
account.
days.
These great
You know,
games
but
on
like what are-
PlayStation Plus.
Right,
Look
like
What
them
is
up
Sony
now.
being like, hey, what's up, guys? You playing,
Well, the thing is,
playing Detroit Become Human? What's going on?
we're gonna see trailers for games in the Xbox press conference. And they're like, oh, that's gonna be on our stuff too.
Yeah.
We're gonna have Star Wars Battlefront. We're gonna have, you know what I mean? It's just like,
Oh, yeah, the new EA Star Wars.
yeah, whatever the new EA Star Wars. We're like, we're gonna have that too. You know, it's just they're in such a weird position this year.
I didn't even think about like, multi-platform games where it's like, are they just handing sales to Microsoft by not being there because people will forget?
No, because they'll do their own big events. But
Yeah.
like, Ian, I was thinking about like, and we didn't even get into this. I was thinking about like Call of Duty and how big of a deal it used to be when that was
yeah.
part of the Xbox press conference, and that Sony like bought it. Sony bought the Call of Duty deal, so they get the DLC early now. And then like their Call of Duty has been in their press conferences every year since then. Even last year's we had a Call of Duty trailer. This year, no. Call of Duty will not have a presence at E3 because they're tied in with Sony.
And that's another like very unpopular take that I'm just like, shut up, Jones, but I'm just gonna say it on the podcast anyway.
Yeah.
But like a lot of people are like, who needs E3? Everybody bail on E3. And I've been thinking about like those maybe not smaller, like it's not like PAX independent developers, but like those mid-tier devs that can kind of piggyback on these big companies doing these big events, or just E3 in general. It's like, as long as I can just get to E3 and afford it, I don't need a booth or anything, but just make my game available at the show. And if E3 disbands, then they're like, I don't have any shows anymore. You know, it's like, I can go to these other things that are just not as big. It's just not as big of a stage.
Yeah.
So it's like, it's a bummer for them. But then again, it's not like Sony's responsibility to carry them, but it's another casualty, I guess.
I wonder if someone else
E3
steps in.
dissolving.
Did you talk about who would be taking Sony's spot that night? Because there's
No, nobody can take Sony's spot. What do you mean?
or
Like
how
Activision having a press conference?
Like yes, if
I don't
stuff's
think
gonna get
anyone else
shuffled
wants to
around.
be that late anyway.
Or, I mean, they could do it earlier, like fit something else in on that Monday, because there's no way Nintendo's moving earlier. They're to keep that Tuesday morning. Like
I love that
they'll
Tuesday
never
morning,
change that spot. But
We can't say never anymore. I would have said Sony would never skip E3 before.
Oh, Nintendo, because it's direct.
Yeah, but they could easily just the same. You know what I mean? Like we don't know what these businesses are thinking.
No, because it rolls right into their Treehouse Live. So
That-
unless they're
yeah,
not
yeah,
doing that anymore,
That's what I'm saying, dude.
oh, that would be the whole thing would be taken away. But I
Nothing
think one-
is assured anymore. You know?
I agree with that. I'm
Yeah.
saying they go hand in hand though. As
Sure.
long as they're having a presence at E3,
Yeah.
it'll be that
They like that
presentation.
too?
Unless
Sure.
they decide to do live again, which I highly
Didn't
doubt they'll do that.
Nintendo
Yeah.
skip the floor one year? They had like no.
They didn't skip
booth
the
that one
floor,
No.
but there was the year that they didn't do the.
They had a press only booth, but they didn't have a public booth one year. I thought
no.
the year
I-
before Zelda. Or
every
2 years
year,
before?
No.
every year I've been, they've had a booth.
Oh,
They've always,
okay.
yeah,
For
they've always
sure.
had a booth with stuff there.
Weird.
Not always the most interesting, but yeah, it's been there.
Yeah.
It's always been the same spot. I think.
The year we went nuts is like, oh, you're only showing Zelda?
Yeah.
You're
Maybe
bringing
that's what I
one
was thinking
game?
of, yeah.
Yeah, and then it turned out to be a brilliant decision. So yeah, I don't know, Damiani. Before we start this podcast, do you really think that somebody would take Sony's spot there?
Square Enix has got more stuff. Because remember, they did do something this year. It was okay.
I'm listening, dude.
But what if they have? Because everyone's been saying, "Oh, Kingdom Hearts 3, when it's done, they'll finally talk about Final Fantasy VII Remake." Mm-hmm. They have Final Fantasy VII Remake. We talked in a recent episode about how they were doing, but in that discussion, there was like, they have their forecast says that they're gonna have a spike in Q3 of next year.
Avengers, baby.
So they gotta have something big.
Yeah.
So if it's Avengers, they're definitely gotta blow that out. Like,
Yes.
You think they would show up and maybe have Marvel kind of pay a little bit for maybe renting a space or something?
Q3, we got Comic-Con more. I think that would be the.
Oh,
if,
they're-
if I
they're-
could spend more money on E3 versus Comic-Con, I'd spend it on
Their
Comic-Con.
cues are a little shifted, Johns. They're weird. When they said there's a spike in Q3, it actually. But you're right. Comic-Con is closer to the fall.
But
than-
Marvel doesn't do as much at Comic Con anymore. They do.
Right.
They hold their stuff for
the Disney
D23.
23?
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh,
Is this a D23 year?
I don't.
It's every 2 years.
I did not know.
Wasn't
that.
it-
I think 2018 was a D23 year.
Yeah, because didn't we have the Oh no, it was Toy Story, right? Or months? I forget. Everything Kingdom Hearts is blurs at this point.
Queuing up the
think
corrections for next week.
I think Ian's on it, checking in what the next D23 is.
I want to say.
But I mean,
spring
I like
of
to
this
wait to
year.
hear
Yeah.
when Ian's typing on the keyboard and then throw out another question.
Yeah.
And so he's got to make a list.
So here's the thing, though. Square Enix had a press conference this year at E3 that sucked. They could easily just do better next year. I totally agree
Yeah.
with you, Damiani. Have a better press conference.
But I agree.
Yeah.
In Activision, you said you want. Okay, it's
August
next year.
23rd to
This
25th,
coming year.
2019. Oh,
Thank
D23
you.
is coming up.
Okay.
You said that
That Avengers game?
not Blackout, Call of Duty
Yeah.
might not have a presence at E3 because it's tied to Sony now. And
Sorry, a stage presence. They'll
stage
still
presence.
be on the floor.
But what if they want that stage presence? They're like, oh, let's just do our own thing. We got a few other games
and
as
they
well.
do. They typically
Yeah.
do. Yeah.
But it's the thing. Activision has their whole Call of Duty weekend. Mm-hmm. So they kind of,
I don't know if they go extreme like that anymore. I don't think they did that the XP weekends thing.
Yeah.
I think that's phased out.
but yeah, as far as E3 goes, I don't really see them doing their own press conference.
Right, because they have 2 games.
Right.
And no it'll be a Destiny DLC and a new Call of Duty game, and then maybe Crash Bandicoot Team Racing. Crash Team Racing.
So I just to
maybe.
clarify, my press conference also doesn't inherently mean live.
Oh, for sure.
Yeah, it could be
I
just
get
a
you, dude.
video presentation. Tune in to Twitch/Activision or Mixer Activision, whatever they're gonna do.
Do you remember the new segment called Do you remember this?
Wait, I don't believe that's what that segment was called.
What was it called?
Ooh.
Oh, okay. Thank you, Jones. Great memory. So it's time for another ooh. This occurred just before we started recording the podcast. You do your rounds to make sure nothing too spicy dropped. We had a headline on Reset Era about a potential leak of a title from Rocksteady.
Oh no,
Are we all prepared for this?
Ooh.
not really.
Are
In
you
no way
okay?
am I prepared for this.
Okay, so on GameSystemRequirements.com, which seems to be a website that pulls stuff from maybe Steam, we're not sure where it pulls things from, a listing for a title called Superman World's Finest was listed. Genre, action adventure, developer, Rocksteady Studios. And I know you're saying, Kyle, I've never heard of SystemRequirements.com.
Right.
What do you even? Why is this even on your podcast? So I have to give credit to the Reset Era user Est1992, established 1992. Thank you for finding this in the first place. Apparently, before Devil May Cry 5 was announced, about a month before that, there was a listing on GameSystemRequirements.com for Devil May Cry 5. And it's like, what is that doing here? And then so I guess it pulls from some sort of system. It pulls these titles.
The ESRB secret database.
Yes. So we need to discuss the possibility. We're not saying this is a sure thing. We're not saying this is locked in. The possibility of Rocksteady working on a game called Superman World's Finest.
I must add the fact that World's Finest has been rumored for a very long time. So much so people have made posters. They've made marketing materials.
Well, can you tell me about World's Finest? Because it's not just Superman, right?
World's Finest is a reference to the Justice League. It's like or the DC premier characters that like they are the world's finest. Like the whole Batman versus Superman debate. And correct me if I'm wrong, but like the whole Batman Superman debate, who is the world's finest? You know, like, and I think that's kind of like my image of like DC versus Marvel is like DC's. Those characters are viewed much more as gods. Like they really like come from a position of being just like super super powerful.
Batman's not a god.
Whereas
What do you mean?
Marvel. Well, that's the thing. It's like the apex of humankind. Like this is
sure.
as good as a human being can get.
Very true.
Whereas like Marvel to me is all about, peaks and valleys. Like there's just like the X-Men are all over the place as far as their strengths and weaknesses, and the Avengers are just, they're all come from all sorts of crazy walks of life. And as a big DC fan, that's what I like about Marvel. I think that the character mixtures are much more interesting. Whereas like DC just kind of like, well, let's just make them all play together, and then, boom, they're in a Justice League.
Apparently, also, World's Finest, the collection, is like a loot box type thing from DC that you can sign up for $50.
Oh, sure.
Wait,
quarterly.
for like to get comics?
They send you. I'm looking at the website right now. I'm unclear what they exactly give you. It's a box of just like stuff.
Because I think World's Finest might even
apparel,
be
and more,
a comic title. So yeah, did not have time for proper research to get this.
And,
on the podcast,
and immediately
Yeah,
after
yeah.
Arkham Knight, it was like, what are they gonna do next? And it's like, well, clearly Superman. So it's like fans came up with that. Rocksteady didn't. So anytime I hear a Superman Rocksteady rumor, it's like, all right,
sure.
Like, and I just doubt it. I don't know. It just doesn't seem.
Oh, you're
like,
not buying this?
No, it just doesn't seem. It just like and again, as a Batman fan, this seems so backwards. But like, don't do DC. Get out of there, Rocksteady. What are you doing? Like do a Perfect Dark move. Like make your own franchise. Like it would just seem weird to
They're
me
still owned by
to have
Warner Brothers.
Rocksteady being like spent like a whole generation doing licensed stuff, and then
They
they're
actually
just
own
right
it,
into another
they're
license
not just
thing.
a working relationship.
I can double check on that. I believe Rocksteady.
checking it
is
right
Like
now.
Batman Beyond was
Yeah.
another dream that people had, and I'm just like, I would just love them to do, especially a team that nailed like a character this well. I would love for them to make their own character and then get to build gameplay based on whatever they want to do, and not just be like, oh, it's Superman. What do we,
I have
all these limitations and
I
all
have
that.
very little faith that they're gonna make their own thing.
Yeah.
Whatever it is, like what
Oh yeah,
they've teased
that's what
before,
I wish for.
It
It's not,
sounds
yeah.
like they're working on a. Interesting. So they are a subsidiary, but it sounds to me like they are working on a franchise that they are excited about.
Yeah, so Jones, the way I see it from WB's perspective is if we're going to give this studio millions and millions and millions of dollars, it's to support the IP we already own.
Yeah. And it's also weird for me coming from Arkham for them to be like, now you're in the asylum. Now you're in part of the city. Now you're in about the same size for Origins. Now you're just in a slightly bigger area. And now Superman. Like, whoa, what? Like,
That makes
something's
sense.
got to give. Like,
That's logical.
they can't just make the Arkham format and then, you can just fly around buildings and stuff. It's like, that map's got to be 8 times the size of anything
It has
they've
to be
ever done.
Earth-sized. It has to be the size of Earth.
Yeah, well, I mean, there was Superman Returns, which would have been good if they actually had stuff happening in the city. It was just like monsters over there, monsters over there. It's like, does Lois live anywhere? Like, I can see the Daily Planet building, but I can't walk in it, or there's no characters there. So like,
I never
that's what I was missing
realized
from Superman
that
games.
they've only made Batman games besides Urban Chaos Riot Response in 2006.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Who knew?
they did it well.
So-
And also the other thing too is that like, I'd be so nerve-wracked as a developer to move from one DC character directly to another with people being like, you knocked it out of the park with that other character. And then it's just like, this has to be not only as good as what we did to Batman, but better. And we can't just follow any of the, like, that game can't control at all like Arkham did. At all. It's got to be completely different.
No way. Combat will be the exact same, man. What do you mean it can't be the same at all?
I mean, you're flying. Dude. It's like,
Wait,
you know, like,
Batman's
there's no stealth.
Superman's
There's no stealth
Superman's
in a
gonna
Superman
swing
game,
along,
like-
like perch himself
You know what I
up,
mean?
and then
Like-
like drop down, and like
I see what you're saying. I get what
you're
you're
gonna
saying.
crawl under, like
there's no crouch button.
It'll
Why would
just
you
be
crouch as Superman? Like, you know what I mean? Like,
Yeah, I get
there's
you,
no
dude.
detective mode I'm listening to. I guess you could.
They're
hear,
guaranteed will be
You could hear
detective.
from
Oh, yeah,
like long
you could do stuff
distances,
like
but
that.
like, it just seemed. I just don't know.
So will it just be Spider-Man with flying instead of web slinging?
It could be, but it just seems. I worry for them trying to pull that off. I worry that
it's very
expectations are so heavy coming from multiple directions. You got your Superman fans who've been burnt for so many years. You got your Batman fans that are expecting the second coming because they're just like, you nailed it every time. And like, yeah, there's issues with Arkham Knight with the Batmobile, but like overall, it's pretty amazing.
Sick game.
You got the fact
series
that
of games.
they've never had a city with people in it.
Yeah. And it just
they're all asleep.
and just the fact that it was literally like the first rumor I heard. It was
true.
Immediately after Night. It was like, well, Superman now. And so for them to be like, and the next thing is that thing the fans said.
Right.
Like, aw.
And I remember fake leaks around E3 last year.
Be,
this
thrown
year.
off or.
Weren't they also rumored at one point to be working on the now leaked Harry Potter game?
Yep.
As well.
Saw rumors for that. Saw rumors for Ninja Turtles, right? Like WB.
Yeah.
They don't own Ninja Turtles.
I'm just always
anymore,
worried about Superman.
Ninja Turtles would be the easiest transition, I think.
Yeah.
And they were in
Because you can do
Injustice,
multiplayer,
right?
Yeah.
4-player
They were in
co-op, which they've
Injustice.
dabbled with in the Arkham series. Like, that seems kind of more plausible to
But
me.
that's
And I'm
Viacom.
way down. If we get some amazing Superman trailer, like,
Viacom
I'm gonna be
has-
excited for that. I'm not gonna be like, oh, I hate this character. Like,
Yeah.
Ninja
I've been,
Turtles-
waiting
I
for that
don't
good
know if they
Superman
have the
game.
comic license though.
What?
The cartoon is on Nickelodeon. So
Viacom's
that's-
got
Yeah.
the Turtles.
Everything?
Locked
No,
in.
because the
Yeah.
Eastman company, the people who originally created it, still own some of the Ninja Turtle stuff.
I'm looking into it.
Okay, Ian's looking into
I used to
it.
get emails all the time from them.
So I have to make it clear at this point, I've not stepped foot in the Game Awards office, but to me, this is such an obvious Game Awards trailer.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah, they work together a lot.
Like, just this thing popping up, like, I don't know, Jones. I'm not going to be surprised. I'm kind of buying into this.
How
time.
soon was Devil May Cry 5 announced after this?
1 month.
1 month?
Yeah.
All right, there you go. I'll buy into this. I'm just worried about this game if it's real. Especially if it's only Superman. Your background description on World Finest kind of like comforted me a bit.
Yeah, there'll
because
be Batman
There'll
in
probably be more than just Superman there.
Yeah.
Because
Yeah. Oh, that's the other thing. It's got, I'm assuming it's the same universe.
it's like, who fights?
No.
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 Like,
It's a
how do you make a
totally
whole game
different
around
DC universe,
Superman though?
Immediately following their last DC game.
Yeah, because Jones, because a lot of the reasons you just said, I don't think Superman fits in that Batman universe, the Arkham universe. Yeah,
Who's gonna fight him? Like thugs? What thugs are gonna fight him?
yeah, I'm mad when Spider-Man's fighting thugs and they're smacking him and it hurts him. You know what I mean? Like, you're right. There's no way you can.
But
Superman
again,
can
like
fight
that.
thugs.
Now we're getting into what we want out of a Superman game, and to
Yeah.
me, like you can easily do thugs by giving me 2 crimes. Literally, like 2 crimes are happening right now. You cannot do both. So you go do the one, and then it's like, yeah, that guy got murdered, and you can read it in the paper later, and
just
you're like,
spins the
I'm sorry,
planet
but I
around
was.
and goes back
So
to
it's not a
South
matter of like, oh, these 10 thugs are so tough. It's like this is just happening on, but like 2 opposite sides of Metropolis. I can't get there in time.
And I guess another funny idea is Superman trying not to kill the people he's punching. like
it's like a
combat's-
meter.
Combat's hard because you can't kill anybody. and
It's
you
like-
Uppercut a guy, the same button in Spider-Man, and just
Can I please give him like a oh no or oh no? It's like this like the game over animation. When
The game over is just you, like, splatter
he's
a
just like,
face, yeah.
and it goes to black and it's like oh no.
Right, so you don't have a health meter. It's about their health meters. It's about managing your bonus health
Oh
meters.
my gosh.
That's fun.
They, like,
Trying not to destroy
a bulletproof
Yes.
that bounces off and ricochets and kills someone. Oh no.
yeah.
Looks like Nickelodeon did a kind of aggressive buyout in 2009 of all future
It's all theirs,
film
baby.
and television series rights.
Like comic series
The comics
and their comic likenesses.
But
no, they like bought it out.
Huh.
It's kind of weird.
So I saw the comics are still being. So they were doing something anyway. Whatever. That's right. Good. I'll accept it.
Yeah, Mirage might still have comic book, but it looks like they bought it out.
Nickelodeon is making that
Nickelodeon,
money. They're making that
evil.
Ninja Turtles money.
Evil.
What do you mean evil? They made a whole new series.
Those 2 live action movies were terrible.
Yeah, that is Viacom. That is Paramount. So yeah, I mean, there's not too much to talk about. Obviously, we have the title genre action adventure. We have Rocksteady Studios, and also on top of all this, it is something that could have just popped up in a system that just is a troll. You know?
For something like Superman, genre action adventure tells us nothing.
Yes.
I
Exactly.
mean,
Did it say
it's
platform?
not a strategy game.
No platforms listed.
So it could be a mobile game.
No.
yeah. Also, the
Because
attitude
it's
from
GameSystem
Rocksteady.
Requirements.com. Like,
I
it
could
is
be
PC
misquoting
games.
that, but I remember 1 or 2 people at Rocksteady following like the immediate rumors, like months after Arkham Knight, and being like, "We're seeing a lot of rumors out there that are really fun. None of them are right. Like
Yeah,
we're working
but-
on something, and you will be very excited about it. We'll let you know when it's ready."
Yeah. And
where
that,
it's like,
that it
I
will
don't-
blow us away. When
Yeah.
we finally find out what they're working on, it will blow
And
us
Superman
away.
will not blow me away. You know, like it'll blow me away potentially looking at the gameplay. But if it's like a CG trailer, when it's like,
It's a CG drill, and he uses his little wind breath, and like, we got you. It's like, no, you didn't. Come on.
It's Teen Titans.
Okay.
hey,
That would probably
That's
get
something.
people way more.
yeah,
excited.
I would love a
Yeah.
multi-character thing because again, it's like you had Batgirl and the Origins had the multiplayer, so they've been dabbling with like you and a friend, but it was never like true co-op. And I think that would be like Turtles, like something where now the Arkham experience that you love, but with a bunch of new characters.
Maybe it's just called World's Finest, and that's just a mistake. So
Oh,
it's
the Superman
Batman,
bit?
Superman,
Oh man, it could be
everybody.
Wonder Woman and Flash and Green
Yeah,
Lantern.
it's
Oh
like everybody.
man.
Yeah, and Jones, another reason why I think it would be its own universe is that it starts with Superman. If Superman's World Finest is the next title, I think that like that's a whole universal reset.
And next gen, right?
Yeah.
Obviously.
Yeah, dude. Yeah, dude. Okay, cool. This next headline is not a headline at all. It's something you sit next to me, you know what I mean, and you're like, what's going on? What's going on in the world of video games? You know, as my job as moderator to pull things together and say like, this is what we should talk about. We have to talk about Fallout 76. Fallout 76 is, I don't like the phrase bad game. Fallout 76 is a poor game. Fallout 76 is reviewing horribly, historically poorly for a Bethesda game. It is, people are disliking it. It is colossally bad situation, and I don't even know where to start with this. I just want to have a conversation about Fallout 76, what it means for Bethesda, what it means for the world of video games. Just like, it's crazy what's happening with this game that we should be talking about as one of the best games of the year, as we do with Bethesda games, right? And it's not close. It's one of the worst.
I think the major headline for me to take away from this is a study of unfinished games. And like there have been a lot of unfinished games that have launched in the last like 3 or 4 years that are fine. They're like people play and they're like, yeah, it's a work in progress. We'll get there. Just doesn't necessarily work out of the gate. I don't think this is gonna be like a black eye on Bethesda because it's like how many Bethesda games have we talked about being broken at launch? Like this is just kind of what the company is okay in accepting. But from what I take from this is they looked at PUBG, they looked at Fortnite, they looked at a lot of games that are like still not technically quote unquote out yet. And they're like, oh, we could do that. You know, like we can release this game whenever and our fans will totally
Rust and
understand.
Ark too, other like survival games.
And
Sure.
they're really, really pushing that to the extreme. We're seeing the extremes right now of how angry you can make your fan base, how problematic your game can be at launch.
Yeah, well, here's where I would say you fools is that it is a $60 game that comes in a box that you can go to a store and buy.
Yeah.
And those games aren't. And that is the huge defining factor. This was advertised as a new Fallout game. It's multiplayer Fallout. Y'all love Fallout, right? Here's the little boy on the box. What's he called? Not Pip Boy.
Not
Vault
Fallout Boy.
It's Pip-Boy.
Is it Pip Boy? Is his
No,
name?
Pip Boy's the thing on the arm. Vault Boy is the
Vault Boy,
Yeah.
yeah. Here's Vault Boy. He's right on the box. You all
Right.
love Vault Boy. This is a Fallout game. Pre-order now. And you're just gonna have a great time. And people are having a miserable time with this game. It's very glitched out. It's very buggy.
Resources is a big deal too because you have in Fortnite there are the resources that you gather in each match and you got ammo, but it's like not like I've never finished a Fortnite match. I've been like, all my shotgun rounds. Where like I hear from people, they're like, I dumped everything I had into that boss and he just walked through a wall and vanished. So I have nothing now. I have nothing. I have no ammos. I got no nukes. I got nothing for no rocket launchers or anything. Like
Yes.
I'm starting from zero and I have nothing to show for it. And like I can't think of another game that's done that kind of early access understanding, that kind of handshake with their community where they're just like, it's weird, we know, but join us, and so it's weird. It's
Right. I mean, it's funny because we did a press release me on this very podcast not too long ago. They prepared us for this.
they joked about it at their press conference.
Yes.
What they call the beta? It was like barely works or something like
Break it.
Break everything, whatever.
test something.
Yeah. You know what? Not worth it. Like I want to talk about the beta as well. I think
Players
that's
don't get a
another huge
chance to
issue.
break everything. The game breaks everything itself.
Yes. The beta was too close to launch. The beta was like an advertised
sure.
event, right? And it worked more on that like as that than it was an actual beta. And this is something that's been bothering me for like a few years running is when betas are pre-order incentives more than they are like, let's test our servers. Let's test if this game works. Because the beta is happening right now. The beta's happening as people bought their $60 games and are playing it right now.
Oh, yeah.
So yeah, it didn't even happen early enough for them to make changes, and they barely made changes. The beta was effed up, and the launch is effed up. What do you have, Blood?
I have a quote from Ben Moore.
Oh no, yeah, you know what? We can share it. We can share it.
This came in during our group stream, so I've not read this until just now. I don't know if I've ever felt this much raw anger at a game. It is an abomination.
From Ben Moore, who's just reviewing the game.
I don't know. I don't know if I've ever seen Ben this stressed out.
Yeah.
This just beaten down by a game
He can't finish
that
parts
he
of it.
legitimately
Yeah.
wants to enjoy. You
Yes.
know that he I think Ben can definitely be an optimist when it comes to like getting that quality time with the game. But you put in all those hours and it doesn't work.
Yeah, it's funny. I saw it as a 52 on OpenCritic. Ian points out that means it's in the bottom 8.5% of all video games listed on OpenCritic.
Yeah, OpenCritic's fairly new though, so
Sure, like 4 years, last 4 years.
yeah.
So like that's still Blood. Bottom 8.5% of the games released in the last 4 years. That's a big deal for Bethesda, for a Fallout title.
Yeah.
But does Bethesda care? I mean, it's like,
Yeah, so
they didn't really say a whole lot. I think I saw some headlines saying they like quote unquote broke their silence today or
Yeah,
recently.
I went to
and
their Reddit. They had a
finally issued
subreddit.
statements.
Yeah, and basically they got very specific. There's like, here's what we're adding in this week's patch, and the week after that we have another patch, and we're adding those things. We're gonna try to communicate. We're listening, but nothing on the level of like, hey, we're sorry. Like no apology to people who bought it. No, it's just we're gonna keep working. This is a process. Keep talking to us. We're gonna keep listening. But no real admission of guilt, I guess I would say. Not that one is required necessarily. But yeah, it's. I think we're expected to just go back to their subreddit and see what's the next update's gonna be. Is the weird way that Bethesda's handling it.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's weird because, and I know people have pointed this out, like over the years with past Bethesda games, is like, how is this game reviewing so well because it's so buggy and everything? And, even playing like Fallout 3 on Xbox 360, and like I was like totally swept up by that game because it was my first Bethesda game. It was the first time I'd gotten into any of their worlds, and like those big open worlds were still really new, and just like being able to go around and do all this stuff that had nothing to do with the story. And I had crazy bugs in that game. I had, spots where if I tried to open that door, the game would crash. Every time. There was no way I was going to complete whatever was behind that door. The game was going to crash if I clicked that door. And I had another point where I had to go back to a save file that was like 10 hours earlier because the right analog stick just stopped responding. I could
What
not
game was this?
Fallout 3.
Yeah.
And so you reloaded your save and the right analog stick is fine?
No, well, I had to go back to before that bug happened, and I didn't have that many saves
That is an
in between.
insane
Yeah.
bug. That is a crazy one. What you're saying is the game had enough goodwill for you to be like, I still like it though.
Yeah.
Yeah. I
And-
think Fallout 76 is missing that.
Yeah, somehow it's just falling flat. And and all I keep hearing about with Ben is quests that he can't complete.
Yeah.
So I'm not sure like what the day-to-day is that is killing it on
There seems
top of that.
seems to be like a back and forth between, because there's a lot of people that love it. Like there's a lot of people that are like, I don't understand what everybody's complaining
There
about.
are a lot of people, bottom
I'm having it.
8.5%, Jones. There's a lot of people who love this game.
Well, bottom 8.5 of reviewers.
Yeah.
So people that actually were forced to beat it.
Sure.
But
Yeah.
like people like Danny O'Dwyer, for example, like loves Fallout, and he's like, he tweeted, he finally like built his like house on the edge of a cliff, and he was like, I'm so proud of this house. It looks like crap, but I'm so happy. But man, is this game buggy? So like he's at least admitting, but it's like, I'm still having fun with it. Whereas a lot of people, I think initially a lot of people were complaining, it's like there's no NPCs, I don't like the story, I feel like the world doesn't have a lot of life to it, it just doesn't feel as engaging as other Fallout games. And then the counterpoint to that is they advertised it as this, so it's like, no, it shouldn't be a surprise to you. And then the counter to that is there are so many bugs. When there are bugs usually in typical Bethesda games, at least I have like sidekicks or personalities to meet or
Yes.
worlds, like a city. You walk into a city and wow,
Right.
look at all these people walking around. Look at the vibe of this city. And that kind of, evens everything out in a weird way. And there's just not a lot to even it out. It's like if that boss bugs or that button doesn't work, there's nothing else you can really do. Like you're kind of stuck there and you're like, well, I can't finish this quest. And so I just dump it, I guess, and start over or what? Like,
Yeah, Jones, you touched on something
there's no
I
other
like.
direction to go in.
Because as Bloodworth said, like he was willing to forgive Fallout 3, but I think even months from now, even if they fix all the bugs, they're all ironed out, I don't know if they have a fun game. I don't know if Fallout 76 is a fun game, even if it runs perfectly.
I think they have like, there was a weird hope, I think, in the development of this game that it would be like a MUD from the early days of the internet, where it's like everyone is RPing and they're creating the thing themselves. You know, like they expect the player base to do their narrative work for them.
And they said a lot about that at E3. Ian.
Right.
Like,
and
I
I don't think that's the reality we live in anymore for like the majority of players. Like that's not how people engage with stuff like this anymore, really.
Yeah, it's funny. I mean, like it does work for like Rust. I don't know. It works for some games. And some games are
to an extent,
independent games
yeah.
that don't have a pedigree. You know, it's like that's why when like Activision comes along, they're like, "We're gonna do Blackout." And we're like, "All right, let's see it." And they're like, "We don't have it ready." We're like, "Okay," you know, like, and then finally we get to see it. Oh, this is great. Okay, sorry, you know, but like, I'm sorry we were skeptical because you have a lot of these smaller companies. I know Epic's not a small company, but Fortnite was brand new property. We're just like every minute of that game, we're like, "What is this?" You know, we didn't have Fallout 3 to fall back on. Of like, well, this is very different from that other cartoony battle royale shooter you made at Epic. And with this, there's just like so much baggage and so much expectation going into it that it's weird how jokey Bethesda was about the whole messaging for this.
It still makes me mad.
They made it like the cornerstone, other than like Rage, of their press conference. It's a big deal.
It's weird that a company like Bethesda, who kind of like my feeling similar to what Blood said, is like Bethesda's games. I've enjoyed several of them a lot in the past, but they have always had a lot of things you just have to forgive. And like for a company that always comes out with pretty buggy stuff, to make jokes about it belies like some kind of confidence, like that they haven't earned.
Unapologetic jokes. That's what it wasn't. It wasn't self-deprecating. The Todd Howard said, "I read on the internet that our games have a few bugs." There's laughter there, and that is self-deprecating at a point. And then he says, "Because everything you read on the internet is true," which is what you say as like a joke, right?
Yeah.
Right.
And so it means that like you're not sorry. You're
Well,
not
like,
sorry.
We're the butt of the joke.
Yes.
Right.
Like we're the ones that are gonna bump into these bugs and have them ruin our gameplay experience. Like this isn't gonna affect you, Todd. You know, like your sales aren't gonna dip. Like what the
Yeah.
So it's tricky. And in like the 21st century, it's been a fascinating thing to see developers embrace their flaws, and have their audience kind of reach across the aisle and be like, we get it. Like this is something you want to be better at, and you just can't. You have these issues, and you're willing to accept them, and that's fine. And it's like, I don't think Bethesda understands that, like, we do want you to be better. Like, we do want you. This shouldn't be something you just accept, because it's starting to look weird that, like, these other companies, like Activision with Call of Duty and Epic with Fortnite, like, their games are fine. Like, what's going on? Like, why can't, same thing with Telltale before they shut down. It's just like, why are you pumping out so many games with an engine that's not working? Why don't you just specialize and focus on
I think
something?
the other thing, too, and I think it's partly that's bugging people is that the game just doesn't feel like it's visually significantly different.
It's
like
not at all.
Fallout 4.
Oh, yeah.
Right?
It just feels like you're just in another part of the same space, the same game. And Ian, were you the one that brought up something about the dragon animation being reused in some creature?
No, I think that might have been Ben. It was the
Okay.
exact same as that giant bat.
Right, there's a giant bat as the final boss, the final end game thing,
And it's
eerily similar to a dragon
Identical.
from Skyrim.
Yeah.
It's
not
animations
visually,
and
but the
attacks.
animations and attack. Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, that's the thing with this game is it's like it just smacks of no effort at all. Like
Which is
it's insane.
Yeah, which is fine if Bethesda came out and they're like, hey, we kind of rushed this because we want to get it in players' hands and we want you to try it out. Yeah, you might notice these weird things or like little developer diaries where they're like, yeah, we got that animation from something else because we're testing it. We want to see how it works.
Yeah.
But to be jokey about it, to make it, put so much advertising money behind it and then to release it at full price like
Yeah.
it's out.
Yeah.
The fact that this is not a free-to-play game is criminal.
That's the thing that shocks me the most about this is that they had the audacity to charge $60 for this when I think people would have been more forgiving and things might have gone over a little bit smoothly and bought into their humor as they were trying to do. If it was a free to play experience with like, oh, buy some skins or something, that's how we'll support it. But it's going to be free to play in this early phase because we know it's going to have issues. And as Ian said, like, I was always shocked because everything I saw about this game was like, how is this really that different, as you said, Butterworth, from the last Fallout game? This looks so similar. Is this just what? people are gonna like be angry at this game. Like, did they not see this? And now they're saying it's gonna be buggy. I was like, this is a disaster. It's like nothing surprised me about this release whatsoever. It's like it was like all telegraphed in advance. Like this was gonna happen.
Well,
like
I didn't think it'd be this
Except
bad.
by
I
Bethesda.
thought it was gonna be
Right.
I
they
mean,
weren't in on the joke. You know, like they were the ones.
I thought it was gonna be a disaster. I was like, this is gonna be like a really bad game, isn't it? Like
Well,
here it comes.
Not only does it look and play and feel like Fallout 4 or 3 kind of even, it's still buggy. It's like it feels like they didn't even fix the bugs that they were plagued with years ago. It's insane to me.
Oh yeah, I mean there are holdover bugs
Right,
too
right.
from 4.
It's like what?
Yeah, those are the worst because it's either laziness, as you said, or the original game that the coding that they're going off of was coded so poorly.
Right.
It's like it's so spaghettified and stuff that like they can't fix it because it'd be like such a massive undertaking. It's just not worth it to them, which is just okay. You should just build a new game engine or something.
Here's the thing I want to talk about though, because I don't believe that Bethesda is evil. I don't believe they're lazy. I don't think they believe they wanted to make a bad game. What I see this as ZeniMax, their parent company, needing a Bethesda game out this year. Right? If they didn't put this game out this
Sure.
year, Bethesda's not making money this year.
And an ongoing game. Like, I think that could definitely
Games
been a
as a service. Right,
directive.
yeah.
Just pick one of your franchises and do it.
Right, because when we first talked about it, like, we rumored it earlier this year. We were like, hey, there's a rumor about a multiplayer Fallout. That was how a podcast began. It was the Battlecry team. It was like, yeah, they had to set the Battlecry team onto something. And Battlecry, if you don't remember, is
Yeah.
their Overwatch-esque multiplayer
Steampunk,
shooter.
big blade, lots of blood.
Yeah, I think it was third person, so I shouldn't say Overwatch-esque, but yeah, character shooter, canceled, and so they had to put that online team onto something. They worked on this. I think it's like we need returns, we need money this year.
Are they still supporting Elder Scrolls Online though?
Yes,
I'm sure.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
That's something.
Yeah,
that's
they
still
are.
bringing in
But like
money.
speaking of MMOs, like the big issue for MMOs and Fortnite and Blackout now and Destiny especially is just like new content. It's just like, all right, I've just absorbed everything that you have. 2 weeks have gone by. What have you done for me lately? And like it makes me sad that like a couple months from now, because I'm sure in 2 years Fallout 76 will still be going. People will still be
Are you
playing
sure
it.
of that?
Yeah. They're not gonna back down on this.
I'll take that bet.
They're not gonna shut it down. In 2020, people won't be playing Fallout 76.
Well, how many people are we talking about?
I have no idea, but it'll
Okay.
still be something supported by Bethesda.
What
I
about?
almost think it'll be shut down.
They will
in
not
2
give
years.
up by it.
Will it go free to play?
Yeah, that's another
That's a
interesting bet.
really good
But, like,
question.
I would bet it would go free to play.
Within
like
2
the
years,
point
yeah.
is, like I think
Within
Bethesda's
6 months.
possibly going to get it to a point in the middle of 2019 where it does run fine, where it's like we fixed all those initial things. Okay, are you happy? And everyone's like, no, because now we want more content. And they're like, well, we spent the last 6 months fixing everything. You'll get new content eventually. It's like that's not the uphill battle you should be making at the launch of an
Oh, yeah.
ongoing game.
If you look at the patch
first thing
notes,
you
it's
should
so
be thinking-
boring. Yeah, exactly,
Yeah.
dude. Yeah.
But like my thing is, how can one company, and I know they have different like development studios, like id is not Bethesda, like they own them, but like Doom is a good looking game, Prey is a good looking game, right? And this game looks like it came out 7 years ago.
yeah.
I don't get it.
Yeah, I mean,
Ugh.
they're different teams.
Yeah, but it's like, what? Like, is there no oversight to Bethesda?
Gambling
like, how
with
can they
expectations.
how can one company have oversight over two companies that would put out a game that looks good and is good like Doom?
So
and
I'm
then
curious.
this?
Like, I've always thought Skyrim looks bad. What does
I
the panel
also think Skyrim looks bad. At the time, it didn't
Skyrim's
look.
a very old video
Yeah,
game.
but at the time, it didn't look bad. It didn't look bad, but it certainly wasn't like the greatest looking game ever.
And so,
they've always got like a look.
I think it's that kind of thing where we talked about a little bit on the podcast. It's that athlete thing, the sports team thing of like when you're succeeding, everything you're doing is right. Why would you fix anything because you have wild success?
It's kind of like Nintendo. Like we
Yeah.
complain about Nintendo's sales stuff over the years, and just like they win almost every
Yeah.
time. So like, who are we to
Right.
criticize anything they're doing?
And I think that's what happened with them, Ian, is like, well, Fallout 4 looks like it does, but it sells like crazy, so
Yeah.
like,
Right.
why make it better?
Well,
Why
it's
invest
like-
money into that?
It's like Rockstar has some like weird game design choices, and it's just like, hey, it doesn't matter.
Right.
Like they're
No.
not going to change because they're not going to change.
I wonder how much of that's chalked up to like because Skyrim, these games they're open world. Just like people are gonna accept it's an open world game. It's gonna have these issues. We have trained our consumers to be open world games are a huge undertaking. They're not easy to do. Bugs are expected, so it's just the natural order of things. So,
but then things changed.
I know, but I think they are still in that mindset that
Yes.
no, it hasn't changed. Like
Yeah.
even like we see these other games coming out. either ignore them or they're still in their bubble. They're just like, no, this is how it is.
I think that with Skyrim and Fallout and stuff, they've always prioritized draw distance and quantity of elements over textural graphical quality. I think that's just how the choice they made, And whereas for like Breath of the Wild, that works because you make an artistic choice. But these just kind of look muddy to me. I don't know.
You think of like Far Cry 5. You think of anything Ubisoft puts out, gorgeous.
Yeah.
Yeah, like Assassin's Creed
Or
right
Red Dead.
now.
Horizon.
Yeah, Red Dead.
I mean, obviously they're
Horizon,
newer
gorgeous.
games,
Like we now have open world games that aren't super buggy, that don't crash on you when you try to open a door.
Right. Like Skyrim is old, but Fallout 76 is newer than Horizon, and Horizon looks incredible.
Yeah.
Like this is 2018.
Yeah.
Put your 2010 trash in the trash.
So I got a question for the panel again. We know about Starfield. We know about Elder Scrolls 6. Are those going to be lookers? Are those going to be gorgeous games?
I can't imagine why they would be. I mean, so
You think so?
it would be a surprise to me.
If they're lookers, if they're gorgeous? Because you think the worlds would just be big enough where it's just like, well, the world's huge, so they can't look like those other games. You think so?
I feel like, aside from some, increased polygons and increased resolution on textures, I don't see that big of a difference since Morrowind. It's just like they all kind of look like the same thing.
Amen, brother.
Yeah, I hear you, dude. I guess really the point of that question is kind of how Jones opened this, is do you think Bethesda will learn a lesson from Fallout 76? Do you think this will just be a slap on the wrist, or will it be an injury where they look at themselves and say, man, we can't do that again?
Yeah, worry if they're just going to view this as a special case because it's not a traditional Fallout game.
Yep.
Probably
And how
in
much
their
do they get to
eyes.
pass the buck because it's not them?
Yeah. They're
Yeah.
just going to be like, we shouldn't read too much into this. Wait till Fallout 5 or Skyrim, Elder Scrolls 6, it'll be fine. Don't worry about that. I think it's going to take a single numbered entry in the mainline series to have this kind of backlash for them and not meet the sales expectations they have, for them to really be like, learn a lesson essentially from that.
I mean, personally, whatever Elder Scrolls 6 looks like, I'm playing the hell out of that game. Doesn't matter to me.
See?
Yeah.
That's how
Those,
I think that's the Bethesda promise.
just gameplay wise, I just love Elder Scrolls does archery in first person in a way a lot of games don't. So I like it for that reason. It's
Wait,
fun to
what do
just
they do?
Whip out a bow. There's just not a lot of first person open world bow and arrow games.
Sure.
Far Cry, yeah, but there's just the caves and fun ways to explore, and the way it levels up, you just level up by doing the thing. So it's nice getting a headshot and a skeleton. It's like your archery went up.
It's very hard to tell, and obviously they're just CG teasers, but I just compared the Starfield and Elder Scrolls 6 teaser trailers. Mm-hmm. They look all right.
No.
Yeah, they're...
Did y'all hear that? Sounds like it's podcast halftime.
The following are the official sponsors of Easy Allies for the month of November. Mango. Sweet Justice, a sound design company from the southern shores of the UK. They've worked on some of the biggest AAA titles, the most refreshing indie titles, and collaborated with the best development teams in the world. L. Thanis. Beaten Down Brian. Y2 Kyle 89. Hogue Law Business Law Firm. Whether you're starting a business at level 1, stuck fighting the dreaded fundraising boss, or finally cashing out with a well-earned high score, you need a good business lawyer at your side. Hogue Law brings more than a decade of experience forming and funding companies, negotiating contracts, and everything in between. At Hogue Law, it's always business law time. Check them out at hoeglaw.com or on Twitter at Hogue Law. Will Schmuck, who reminds you to watch Box Peak and Tabletop Escapades. iKeyless. iKeyless.com is proud to sponsor Easy Allies. If you need a replacement car key or remote, use offer code EZA at checkout for free shipping and 30% off of your order. And our mega sponsor, Jigarbov Productions. If you weren't watching, last week I, Jigarbov, had a huge media blowout showing off all my cool stuff that you can get on the Minecraft Marketplace. Go back and check it out. I got a lot of support in the comments and even a couple of business contacts and people reaching out which is super cool. Anyway, is anyone else happy that Red Dead 2 is finally out so people can stop talking about it? Oh no. Is that Red Dead Online on the horizon? No! All of these links are available in the description. Thank you to our sponsors.
Was so close to being sweet and nice.
I know. But it's Jigger Bob.
Yeah. Hey, business contacts.
Yeah.
That's a sponsorship paying off right there.
Yeah.
It is funny. It didn't. No contacts until the video was rolling. That's what I'm saying, Jigar Bob. If you actually just sell yourself, you might get a little honey. Bees in the honey.
Bees in the trap.
Flies in the honey.
Bees in the honey.
Right, and we got
Pooh. What?
two more slots open, I think.
Oh, of sponsor slots?
Yeah.
Cool, cool.
Also,
For December, if you
anybody
want to
can
get in
do
there.
B-roll, right?
Sorry?
Can't anybody do B-roll?
Anybody.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, we had somber
please.
tapestries rolling
Yeah,
for
Somber
years.
Tapestries, baby.
Yeah.
Nice.
I guess we are done talking about Fallout 76. Damiani, you had a thought that I interrupted. Is there a way that you wanted to conclude on that thing? We were talking about Starfield and Elder Scrolls 6 not having good reason to believe that those will be lookers. I guess that's it.
No, I didn't have anything else
All
to
right,
say.
we don't believe Fallout 76 will teach a lesson to Bethesda, is what I've learned. Very quickly, I do want to address what Jigar Bob does not, Red Dead Online, because that just dropped. That dropped, was it 24 hours ago when they said, hey, it's tomorrow?
I can't remember if it was Sunday or Monday.
Yeah.
I think it might have been Sunday.
Okay, so Sunday they said, hey, it's dropping Tuesday at 8:30 a.m. Just play it. If you bought the Ultimate Edition of the game, you're gonna be able to play that beta on that time. If you played the game day one, you'll be able to play it a day later, and then everybody else some other time, several days after that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Out of nowhere.
And here's what I like about it. Go ahead, Ian.
The Rockstar's blog post was yesterday, the 26th.
Oh, crazy.
Okay.
Yeah.
So
Yeah,
they announced it
that
the day
turnaround.
before they put it out.
Yeah. Here's what I like about this is that is to me not a marketing beta. That to me is a true beta.
Sure. A beta with good intentions.
Yes.
A beta.
Yes.
It's also a Tuesday. So for me, I mean, even like my job is hopefully part of my job is to play like games like this, or like we all have those games that we're like, we kind of raise our hand, like I'm going to be focusing on this. So it's like, I would imagine the 8 other allies would expect me to inform them about how Red Dead is and be the one playing it the most. And Tuesday is the worst day to launch anything.
Sure.
So like that happened this morning. I was like, no. And we were playing for
When-
group
when
streams.
most
So like,
things
I
launch,
didn't want to
though.
get too far into it. But we get an advance sometimes, Blood. No advance on this.
No advance.
With the
No
exception of the
warning.
Ultimate Edition
Yeah.
that I didn't even know. And I found out because it was like, oh, Jones, well, you got the Ultimate Edition. I'm like, do I? And I didn't. And for a lot of people that asked me questions on Twitter and I like scratched my head, they're like, how about that extra heist mission or whatever? And I was like, yeah, I don't remember that. And because I was playing the standard version and my boy Bloodworth here had the code because we got the care package from them with some merch and stuff. And in there was Ultimate Edition and he kept the code. So I was able to enter that in. And I got a new outfit, single player, and
Just
some
the
other
fact
fun
that
stuff.
I've been moving and haven't had a chance to play Red Dead
'Cause I,
so
like,
I never
I looked
like
at the
got
store.
to the screen.
It was like $80 to play one day early, and I was
Yeah.
like,
Almost did it.
guy almost pulled the trigger on that one.
Yeah.
But it's so I just it being that the people who paid that much, popping out on a weekday like that, very little notice. Like I just imagine there's a lot of people that like, oh, sorry, I can't go to work on Tuesday, and so you not only you have go in the mornings, you have those people that were able to take the day off and play and have that version, and then everyone else that gets home from work early, everyone else that's like right now coming in finally at night, jumping in. The really slow rollout makes sense if you're testing it technically.
Yeah.
And from what I can tell, just from my own personal experience, a lot less issues with this than with GTA Online, with the exception of Xbox owners, which that was a weird snafu. Apparently it's working now. But,
With Red Dead?
Yeah.
Oh.
Xbox, across the board, Xbox One was not working.
But it is now. It's a beta. That's
Yeah.
what I like about it, Jones. It's just like they just want to get this working. I realize it's weird. It's weird to talk about this and Fallout 76 together. Because Red Dead Redemption 2, when you buy that box, you're buying the campaign and you're buying the multiplayer mode. Same with GTA 5, and more than ever, as years go by, you're buying the multiplayer mode more than the campaign almost. I don't know. It is almost precisely a month and 1 day. It was a month and 1 day after the release of the game. Do you think this is when multiplayer's ready, or we wanted a month? Do you think that was a strategic decision or a pragmatic decision, like something that they didn't have it ready until now?
Yeah, it's hard to tell. Were they quiet because they weren't ready, or were they quiet because they wanted to spring it on everybody and have people like, "Oh, I'm not ready." You know, like.
Yeah.
I don't know. This is a week after for exactly a week for GTA Online.
Well,
I feel like in some ways, there's almost this expectation that a lot of people wouldn't want to jump in online until they got through the full single player. And so maybe that was part of the reasoning. It was like, let people just, enjoy the game.
Like, don't even give them the temptation. Don't give them the anxiety or stress.
Yeah.
I get what you're saying.
Because, too, like, what was it? Halo 2, because of the multiplayer, I have never actually finished that campaign. I kind of, like, sidetracked by the multiplayer, just ended up playing multiplayer every night.
Yeah.
And then just like, I wasn't really feeling that campaign anyway, so whatever.
Just a bunch of ghosts and Gravemind, man. You're not missing out on too much. Yeah, it's a fair point. Yeah. One last thing that I think is pretty interesting about this is when we had this rumored. Again, it's kind of fun to like look back at a year of Easy Allies podcasts when we were rumoring about Red Dead Redemption 2 multiplayer having Battle Royale mode. And they never advertised it. We kind of just accepted that for truth. A lot of rumors, you can just kind of smell when they're real and you can smell when they're not. That seemed like, oh yeah, it probably will happen. It'll happen eventually. And then when it was announced today, I'm like, so I guess it doesn't have Battle Royale. Turns out it does. Turns out that is one of the multiplayer modes within Red Dead Redemption 2. Just interesting, it was never advertised. There was never a trailer where they said, and you're going to love this too. Here's our Battle Royale.
There was never an online trailer.
Yeah.
That's
Crazy.
What I feel like until I saw Jones playing it, I had no idea what
And we
was.
didn't show this on our stream because it's like the tutorial, but like there's a story. There are like brand new characters that you meet that are like helping you get started in this world. And it was weird to be like, I would have thought we'd been introduced to these people before I like just jumped in the game and met them. Mm-hmm. And so it's very strange how they rolled that out. And I imagine, a lot of that comes from just how insanely popular GTA Online is. And so they're like, we don't need to oversell this. We can just kind of like make it, have it show up, surprise people, and then they'll put time in and we'll correct it, over the weeks and months. And they're very, very much advertising like this is just bare bones modes. You can't play poker yet. Like there's like a lot of stuff in the game that will be coming. That you can check out, but just do this, let us know how it is, and hopefully it'll all work.
This is what earned confidence looks like.
Right. But it was interesting. I had a thought. I want to give credit to Ben because I actually came in and Ben showed up to do Fiasco Knots. And as much as I am definitely like a brand manager as far as like microtransactions, no big deal. Like a lot of my stupid like rich takes. And Ben is definitely much more on the side of the consumer. So like there's a lot of I don't necessarily say we're at odd ends, but like I love having a spirited debate with Ben as far as like how companies should treat like what you pay for versus what you don't. And Ben was frustrated that they paid you basically spent $80 for an advance, even though they didn't advertise that, you know. So it wasn't like an EA, access or something. It was just kind of like, oh, surprise. Like if you have this and if it's really important to you to play it 24 hours early, you can still give us $80 or whatever, or $100. And his take was like, what if they had just picked like a random sect? What if they just done a random group? And like these people, if you just log in that day and poof, you have it, jump in, and then we'll slowly roll that out. But the more I think about that, like IGN's got to have early access, right? Like they have to. Like there's no early access thing for Red Dead Online that IGN's just like, well, we just can't access it. Like that doesn't seem like a reality. Like, you know what I mean? That seems so weird.
There has to be at least some guaranteed way to get keys, is what you're saying.
And so if you have the mixture of a quote-unquote randomness paired with, we obviously gave these people codes no matter what, that creates distrust, I think. And people are like, well, random, my foot, like these people are playing.
I just realized...
So I just think just that strict monetary... It's like the people who don't have access got to have somebody to hate, and it just seems like an easy thing to hate the people that paid more money.
I do want to make it clear. I did look it up earlier. It's $100 for the Ultimate Edition.
Wow.
Correct. It was $80 this weekend.
Oh, got it. Okay.
Because it was $80 when they announced it. So Saturday was still Black Friday weekend on the PS4. So when they announced that and we were checking before you gave me the code, I checked what version I had and it was like $83 for the.
Jones, how would it even work on the PS4
Monday,
market? Because
Cyber Monday.
If you buy a second copy of a thing, it wouldn't upgrade your current copy, right? You'd have to like it'd be a different license. You'd have to like re-download it. It would be a nightmare probably.
I don't know. I don't know if the code that
How did it work for you?
I got the code because
Yeah.
we had a hard copy. So there was just the disc normally, and then you had to enter the code
Right.
into PSN. So if you just
And
buy
that
it, I think
turned
it
it
just
into
does
the
the same
Ultimate
thing.
Edition?
It
Got
just
it. Okay.
unlocks it.
Sure.
Because they said specifically in the online email, they're like, even if you have the disc from the Ultimate Edition, make sure you put that code in, or it's not going to work. It doesn't recognize the Ultimate from the disc itself. So I
wonder
think
if
it's just a key.
when you
that just-
download it, it must just give you that extra key too.
and all those costumes and stuff are individual DLC items in the
Right,
store.
right.
So it just gives you access to all of those as well.
Lastly, it wasn't broken. Lastly, it worked. It
For
functioned.
Xbox people, yeah, and I just saw a lot of people. I mean, you see lots of tweets where they take a picture of the coming soon or doesn't work screen, and it's like,
sure.
but it's hard to tell from social media what percentage of the whole audience that is.
But I mean-
I have not seen one issue.
We
And
didn't see
playing this
T-pose
morning
monsters,
and in our
right?
stream.
Yeah.
Right.
But we're playing on
that's the
PS4.
thing is like it's a slow rollout beta, and yeah, there were a couple of hiccups, but for those of us who got in, it worked no problem. Versus Fallout 76, which is a full release out and is
Almost
terrible.
nobody's saying it was work.
Hard to find anyone with a clean run through.
Yeah,
Right,
exactly.
right,
Fallout
right.
76. Yeah.
It's just like it's 2018.
2018. Stop this. They had to. They just had to get out a game this
That's a
year.
good
That's
point.
how I see it. What's up?
The stealth drop, like giving only people like a 24-hour heads up and stuff, like, and it coming out less of a Zerg, I guess.
Yep.
The more you let people prep up and stuff, like,
Oh, yeah.
for that, the more your servers get hammered. The more, like, almost every game that's online, dependent on servers, universally gets hammered. It has login troubles, all that type of stuff associated with that. And while you said there's maybe some of that still going on, you were able, like, it seemed, from our end, it seemed like one of the smoothest things I've seen in a while. You know, so that's
Smoothest things
Compared
you've
to
seen in a
GTA,
while?
too.
smoothest like online experiences day one in terms of like server stability, not
Sure.
getting disconnect, stuff
Sure.
like that is what
Well, and
I
also
meant.
load times for this compared to GTA are so good.
Yeah.
My God.
When Damiani says Zerg as a verb, he's referring to Emperor Zurg from Toy Story. The way he had a Gatling gun that shot out little yellow
Yeah.
balls.
The little
So
tennis
it's just
balls.
like
Yeah,
that.
yeah,
So
yeah.
it's like
Yes,
put,
thank you for
tennis
clarifying that
balls.
for me,
Yeah,
Kyle.
yeah.
I don't know
Yep,
what
yep.
I'd do without you.
It is now time for love and respect.
Love and respect.
Let's play a game. Cause this guy kind of like we kick off this game kicks off with some current events, so I like that. Let's do that. Hey allies. After nearly a year and a half of free updates, Nintendo has announced that while Splatfests and balance patches will continue until July of 2019, this December is the end of the line for major content updates for Splatoon 2. While it may not be Call of Duty or Overwatch, Splatoon 2 has cemented itself as its own unique and successful brand of shooter, selling over 7.47 million units worldwide, and even launching a Nippon Professional Baseball affiliated esports league in Japan. Isn't Nippon just Japan? Mm-hmm. Okay. So to celebrate this moment, I submit a quick and silly game called Weapon of Splat Destruction or Regular Household Item. Splatoon is known for its creative weapons based on everyday items. I will list 3 such items, and the panel must guess which one is not the basis for a weapon in Splatoon. Incorrect answers will have names. Oh yeah, that's just for me. Okay, love and respect, Stephen Brown. Here we go.
All right.
Trash can, bucket, champagne bottle. Which one is not a Splatoon weapon?
Champagne bottle. No, if you shake it.
What was the other two again?
Probably
Sorry.
trash can.
Trash can, bucket, champagne bottle.
Trash can and bucket seem
Seem
like
yeah.
Bucket's definitely
same
in there.
thing. Yeah,
it's like
bucket's
paint
definitely in
can
there.
kind of.
Trash can is not. Yeah, the trash can is not a Splatoon weapon. I
Okay.
think Jones got there.
Okay, yeah.
You thought
Yeah,
about
Jones.
the champagne bottle. You're like, actually, no, that'd be a good Splatoon weapon.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's funny. Yeah, champagne bottle's in. Bucket's called the slosher,
Yeah.
and the campaign bottle is called the squeezer. Okay,
Slosher was at launch, right? I remember that from the review.
Yeah.
that's
Yeah,
like
we
that's like
had
Splatoon
some.
1. I feel
Yeah,
like
that
the
was the
bucket.
No, it
one, I
wasn't.
think.
Really?
Yeah.
That wasn't
Really?
in the first one.
I thought you could splash people with.
I'll take your word for it. All right, toothbrush, bathtub, soap dispenser.
Soap dispenser sounds
I'm
so
gonna go
specific.
bathtub.
Toothbrush. Jones nailed it. Soap dispenser is not a Splatoon
Bath-
weapon. Toothbrush is called the Dapple Dualies.
How does a brush add paint?
But you dip it in paint. And then
Is it electric?
I guess.
The dualies implies that there's two of them too, just like
What is it called? Duel and Doolies?
dapple dualies. The bathtub is called the bloblobber.
Wow.
The bloblobber.
I missed a lot.
That's so sick. That's probably an ultimate. That's probably like one of the super moves is the bloblobber. All right, third set. Here we go. Camping tent, umbrella, coffee mug.
coffee mug.
That's right, Jones. You're good at this game. The camping tent is called Tentambrella, and the umbrella is
Umbrella's
called
definitely in there, yeah.
Splatbrella or Undercoverbrella. Yeah, we've seen the
Oh,
umbrella
so the
for sure.
tent is like an upgraded form of the umbrella?
Sounds like it, yeah.
Huh.
We got the big Nintendo guy on the podcast and the guy who reviewed Splatoon 2.
And they're baffled.
I'm sweeping.
Yep, you're killing this, Jones.
I'm ashamed. I follow
I mean,
Splatoon
a lot
news.
of these have been
I follow
added.
Splatoon news. I've never played Splatoon outside of E3.
Well, that's the point. That's the point
Yeah.
of this game, Blood, is that they've been added over the last year and a half. Like this
Yeah.
game's had a lot of support, which I
Yeah,
think is
even the
really
umbrella
interesting.
wasn't at launch.
The toothbrush thing is insane. It's like a
What does
gun.
it look like? Yeah.
Don't show it to us. Don't show it to us.
Yeah.
Explain it.
It's like a gun facing forward that has like an arced, like half of a bow and arrow arm off the back with a string connected to a bent backwards toothbrush with paint on it.
Oh, yeah.
That
So it's
seems
like
to be there for no reason.
it's like when you flick paint. I've done it actually in art class, right? Like you put paint on a toothbrush and you kind of flick it off.
But it's like facing the wrong way. I don't know how this thing works. The gun is facing forward,
They're
and
kids.
the toothbrush is facing backwards.
Trust in the kids quiz.
Yeah,
I mean, maybe it flips around somehow or something.
I need to find a video of this.
Next
thing.
set: hot glue gun, stapler, pencil sharpener. I love this one because I'd say not any of them. None of those could possibly be a Splatoon weapon.
Pencil sharpener?
Yeah, pencil sharpener sounds.
No.
Hot glue gun?
Stapler is the real life object. The hot glue gun is Glugadoolies, and the pencil sharpener is called the Clash Blaster.
Pencil sharpener.
I love these names.
Yeah, great Clash Blaster. All right, final one. Here we go. Leaf blower, basketball shoes, washing machine.
Washing machine.
Leaf blower.
Leaf blower is the right answer. The washing machine is called the sloshing machine.
Yeah.
The basketball shoes are called tetradoolies.
They love anytime there's two, it's doolies.
Yeah. Oh man, fun game. Okay. Let's do, man. I'm not prepared for this discussion, but we're hopping in. Here we go. How upfront and transparent should platform holders be in regards to their policies and when they change? It's been reported by developers that Sony has recently changed their policy regarding sexual content in games, and this has led to games being altered, delayed, or outright canceled at the last minute. I'm not here to argue whether or not Sony is in the right to keep this content off their console, but I do think their silence on the issue is hurting their employees and developers. There are already bad actors in the community cooking up conspiracy theories about Sony employees and looking to start up harassment campaigns against them. If Sony came out and was transparent about what is and is no longer acceptable on their platform, it would do a lot to curtail a lot of the uncertainty surrounding the new policy, as we can only guess based on what developers are saying. What do you guys think? Love and respect, Phazon. Does anyone in the panel have any familiarity with this issue so far?
I've heard people talk about it a little bit. I haven't looked into it deeply to know. I think my first reaction to this is it's probably not super transparent because it's probably... I find it hard to believe that it's easily defined.
Right.
I feel like it's probably one of these things where somebody submits something and somebody makes a judgment call and they're like, no, not that.
Right. So a recent example is Dead or Alive Extreme game that's getting released in Japan. I don't think even here. Some of the things they're taking out, and it's just like a version of it that's already existed on a PlayStation platform, is softening gel, which just makes the parts of a woman that would jiggle more because they're softer. And one's like a little bag of air. I don't remember what it was called. That just like poofs their clothes while you're like staring at them.
What game is this for?
That's Dead or Alive Extreme Red. You might have to look that up, Ian. I don't remember the name of it. Because like we almost like this has been piling up. There's been a few people who are just like, "Hey, can you talk about this?" It's like I don't know how to talk about this at all. But like,
Yeah, Dead or Alive.
this is an interesting angle on it. Is just like, sure, hey, have that policy, but talk about it. say like, hey, we don't want this stuff anymore. It's like, if you're going to take a stand, make the stand. It seems weird to keep it a secret. And like Blood just said, I think it's because they don't have official rules on it. It's probably a human's decision to say like, no softening gel. I don't like this. And it's also a thing that we probably don't even know like how many headshots, like how violent can you get? How much of an areola can you show? You know, like we don't know exactly what the rules are in the first place, so they're not used to communicating those.
Yeah, it's tricky because the only people that this directly affects are developers. So these conversations might be happening behind the scenes, and it's on the developers to create content that they know is then going to be available on PlayStation for people to buy. And so if I had that conversation with a developer, like, why would I make that transparent? I'm not saying they shouldn't. I'm just saying I'm trying to get in their mindset. And so it's like, as a consumer, something's either available or it's not. So if it's not available to you, we told you, you know, like, I just wonder if that's their stance.
Yeah.
Or they're just like, it's real simple. Like if we have standards, we communicate those to developers. If you're not able to buy something, that's our standard. Like we don't allow that. You know, if it's not in the store, it's not up to snuff.
Yeah, right. And I think they know what it would look like if they said that they're doing it.
Because I didn't know this really.
Yeah.
And because like you were saying, you're
Exactly.
like, I've heard of this, but I haven't really done the research myself.
It's been very recent, like last
if people
few
at
months.
this table, like, we're not really keyed into it,
Yeah.
like, how much would it benefit Sony to be like, hey, everybody, this audience is mad about this.
Yeah.
And we're like, wait, what? And then like
Going forward, no more softening cream.
Yeah,
Everyone would
yeah.
be furious.
Yeah.
Yeah.
and
But
they're
I
just trying to
think
mitigate a disaster, I think, or
it's just going to get worse. I think the more you keep it a secret, the worse it's going to get eventually.
yeah. Or like the animosity, if there was animosity about it, Sony wouldn't necessarily learn more from that. They wouldn't be like, now we know how agitated this would make people, or the people that resent this, or the people that are vocal about it. Like, they probably see that and hear it. They're just like, it's enough. It's enough for us to know we're confident in the decisions we're making, and letting people know about it is just going to enrage some people or bring people into the argument, and having more people mad about this is not going to change our stance.
Yeah, right. I don't think I do think there has to be communication. I think you have to own up to it, because another weird aspect
Sure.
of it is that this is apparently Sony of America policies on Sony of Japan's games. Games that are getting released in Japan being policed by Sony of America, which we were making fun of with China and Rainbow Six Siege recently.
I think I did that.
Yep. And so they reverted on that. And so these are Japanese games not getting released in the US that are being censored by US standards. And I think that's another huge issue of this.
Owning up to your limitations has been a theme of this podcast episode.
And so, yeah, Jones is like, it's not, you cannot possibly make that statement without an uproar. I do agree with that, but I think you have to make that statement.
Yeah, and I wonder is this a statement that they're not making like at a press conference or does PlayStation have anything inside Xbox-ish? Like, or directs? Like, do they do anything on a regular basis that I just don't watch?
No, in Europe they do, but yeah, I don't think, yeah, I mean, yeah,
Like, would something
they
like
have a
that
team-
be
they
a
have a
good
weekly
time to
podcast.
mention it? So, like, I think there's a difference between, like, they're not saying it on a megaphone versus they're not saying anything. And if they're not
Yeah.
saying anything, that is a little weird. They're like,
Yeah.
even on their website, or even if you like go to, PlayStation and find these games, there's like a little blurb that's like, FYI, this game falls under this,
Some change
and package it kind of like a Nintendo seal of quality kind of thing. It's just
Yeah.
like, if we really want to promote stuff,
Yeah, I mean, I can't think of very many instances. Maybe when Steam has addressed these things, have they? I feel like maybe that's when it's been talked about.
Yeah, and
but I
Steam-
don't feel like in general, like these kinds of these things are all that publicly discussed by platform holders.
Right. We have no idea what what they need, because we assume that, the video games self-police, right? ESRB comes out and says you can't do that.
Because there's a lot of other. I mean, it's part of a larger group of checks, right? There's all of these compatibility checks, and again, you expect some degree of transparency with that as well. Again, we're talking about all these, how much Fallout crashes and bugs and things like that, and it's like, well, it has to get certified by Sony at some point.
Yeah.
So why does one game fail a cert check for one reason, and
'Cause they're
some other game gets a
Bethesda,
bunch
dude.
of other things just get pushed through?
Yeah.
And
Right.
I feel like this is a very similar kind of situation in a way, where it's like, okay, what's the quote unquote line? You talk about nudity. It was like, well, David Cage has got nudity and Cyberpunk's obviously gonna have some nudity going on,
Right.
And then it's like this kind of judgment call of intent and all of that and appropriateness that can be really very difficult to nail down when you get to specific cases.
Yeah, I see that.
It's stuff like this that makes me confused why the AO rating went away. Because it's like,
Oh, the AO,
why-
it's still there.
right, but it's like, okay, then why not just even if it's just on PlayStation, like force it to have the adults only rating or something?
Because none of them will carry it.
Yeah, Sony.
That actually is a public policy, is that I think all the major platforms
they
and all
don't
the
ca-
major
okay.
retailers will not carry or digitally list a title that has AO rating on it.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay, I didn't
That
know
is
that.
a policy.
So this is a PlayStation 4 thing. And so the weird thing is that I'm always, with corporations, tempted to believe that decisions are driven by profits. Sony's saying, if we want to maintain a good image, if we want to still keep being a profitable company, we have to change things. We can't let softening gel be in PlayStation games, right? Like somebody at Sony of America told Sony of Japan this. They had some data that said we will make more money if you reel back on some of the more obscene things in these games. I don't know, and so I guess maybe
it's a weird thing. I think it's a weird thing because it's very unique to the video game industry.
Yes.
It's like,
you can show boobs on HBO, right?
well, not just that, but I'm saying that, if you build a CD player, you don't have any authority to tell anyone what they release on a CD, like what their lyrics can be or anything,
Yes.
you don't have, same thing with like a DVD player, you don't have, any way to object to what content there is.
This is a very good point.
And Nintendo, Microsoft, and Sony, like, they have the final say over every single thing that gets, published on their platform. And,
Yeah.
there's very, there's very little in the way of, like, quote unquote bootleg games.
Like back in the NES days where people would make their own NES carts that looked a little weird.
yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, like you had Tengen and
Yeah.
Wisdom Tree and all that stuff. And like now you don't have any like known major companies doing that. I'm sure there's some things out there, but
That is absurd, isn't it?
Yeah.
They control their platform.
Yeah, I've never thought about it like that. Yeah, this is like a TV that doesn't let you watch HBO after 9 p.m. or something.
Yes. Yep.
It's kind of nuts.
That is super nuts.
I feel like it's very similar to the old Hollywood system when they had control over everything.
Sure.
Like the
studios, you mean?
production.
Yeah.
Because it wasn't
Bad
easy.
guys gotta lose.
Because people,
Like,
it
all
wasn't
those
easy
things.
for everyone to own, like, the tools to shoot film back in
Right.
that time period. Very expensive and stuff.
Or show them.
Yeah.
Like-
And very little, show. And feels kind of like that, except you said, like, bootleg stuff. I feel like indie games, really, like PC indie games that just aren't a part of Steam, that's just independently released to standalone. But I feel like even those somehow get subjected to, like, at least I feel like it falls back to like the court of public opinion. If someone were to release like a questionable game, even if it wasn't like just here's a standalone, pay me $5 and I'll like send it to you or something. If like some site were to see it, they'd report on it, but like, this game, it's being released in English and stuff, so it's like it needs to have an ESRB rating on it, and ESRB's like, yeah, no, this is like we can't even give it an AO rating. Like, this is like I don't know, something like that.
Well, like, I think on
And,
PC
like, no
they
one will
just
play your
release a separate one on Humble Bundle or what, right? Like, isn't that what was that game called? Honey Pop? Like, the Steam version was censored and then the Humble Bundle one wasn't. They just made a different version.
Yeah, and what's nuts about this, the one example about Dead or Alive Extreme Volleyball, whatever, is that it's also going to be released, I think, on PC and Switch with the softening gel. That this is a Sony alone policy where they're saying no softening gel. And sorry, that's the only example I can think of.
Sure.
There are more.
You go back and it was Mortal Kombat, no blood. We're just,
Yes.
it's gonna look like sweat.
Where Super Nintendo didn't have blood.
Yeah.
Genesis did have blood.
Yeah.
That's the weird thing to me, is that this is coming from Sony and not Nintendo.
Yeah.
Because, like, Nintendo's got, like, the more sexual games on there now, and Sony's like, nuh-uh. It's just funny that since Mortal Kombat days, things have changed kind of.
Yeah, what was that? It was just like the weird little like sexy chat game, just like you can chat with this sexy woman.
Yeah, there's a bunch of them.
It's so weird on Switch, on the Switch store.
Yeah.
Oh, on Switch.
Yeah.
They talk about like Love Plus or whatever.
No, Switch is going off. Switch is out of control.
But yeah, I mean, Love Plus was like DS or something.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
what I thought. Like handheld, those games definitely. But
Wait, is Love Plus a sexy
but
game?
I don't know.
I
if
thought
it-
that was a sweet game.
Yeah, I thought that was sweet. I didn't think it was explicit.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But anyway, I don't know. It's weird.
Maybe this for whatever reason they're just not aware of it yet. You know,
What do you mean?
Nintendo.
Oh, that they don't know that
Like
there's.
it just slid through the
You're right.
cracks.
But I
somehow.
mean,
they aren't like
if we're
AAA
talking
releases.
about this is a Sony America decision versus a Japan, I mean, Nintendo Japan is the one's going to make the decisions.
Right. Exactly.
So, you know, it's
I mean,
like,
is that?
and they do. They
But is that
do.
entirely true about some of their previous stuff though? Like Tokyo Mirage Sessions, having the protagonist's character was like altered outfits.
oh, you
Was
mean
that-
in the U.S.?
Yeah, in the US.
Oh, no, I
Yeah.
mean, U.S. will have localization decisions, for
Okay.
sure. But I'm saying, like, they're not going to ever override Japanese.
Reggie can't come in and say, hey, on your Switch, you got to take out the softening cream. Reggie will never do that, right? Nintendo America can't tell Japan what to do in Japan.
in Japan. Yeah,
Yes.
yeah. Okay. Yeah, sorry.
That's what is happening right
yeah,
now
in
with
Amer-
Sony, which is crazy.
So wait, the Japanese versions are also removed?
Yeah, that's what
Yes.
we're talking about. We're talking about games
Oh,
that aren't even
I
coming
thought
out in the
just in
U.S.
America they're just getting the
Oh,
thing.
the games aren't even coming out in the U.S.
Oh, so now they're coming out in the U.S.
Not
and
even
then they're
coming out in
forcing.
the U.S.
Okay,
Yeah.
Yeah, I was
but the
trying to look
making
this up is
Japan
hard.
change it thing is a little whoa.
Yeah.
Why they? Okay.
They're like censoring out. They're like adding like light rays to just censor out entire screens and stuff in games. Yeah.
Right, because there was more like a what's it called? Where it's just an
Wait.
image and it's like a novel.
Visual novel.
Thank
yeah,
you, visual novel.
novels.
Oh, sure.
I wonder if these games are only available in Japan or if it has something to do with like the larger like Asian market that some of the territories the game might be released in might have issue with because we just talked about Rainbow Siege 6 and why I had to take out like sexual references and stuff.
You shouldn't be responsible for
Is
other
it- are-
regions.
are the- is this game going into like China or
It's
China,
going to the
Hong
U.S.
Kong.
I mean, the thing is, PS4, you can play its games anywhere.
Yeah, that might be that could be it. Is that it's going to be available in some territories, like, and that's why Japan's willing to listen. I guess it's weird that they'd listen to America telling them to do it. I think they would just have to do it anyway because they know X territory is huge, and we got to change this, which means it's easier for us to change all versions of it, and then maybe Sony America said like, even with all those changes, we still don't want this game or whatever. That could be. I guess that's what's happening here.
It's an image thing.
Yeah.
There's somebody who said we'll make more money if we don't have.
I don't think it. Yeah, I don't. It's money. I think it's money and policy. Like some bigger territories, like policies are commanding the driving force behind these changes. I don't think it's just the American team saying, this is not like. I guess the implication here is like these aren't like. You should do something about changing the morals of these games, or like it's too sexualized, something like that.
Yeah.
I think. I don't think
There's
it's
an extreme
that.
element to it, right?
Yeah.
Let's say like if you're playing PlayStation 4 in France, there's a game where you can drown children, right? You can grab them by the neck and drown them. You'd have to be like, no, don't put that game on a PlayStation anywhere. Like, well, it's just France. It's like, no, do not. We don't want our brand associated with that. And so you can't see an extreme element. You can see an element where it's like absolutely wrong, right? And then you see the opposite. And so yeah, obviously everything's on that line. It's weird. All I can say is I want to know from the panel to answer this question that we kicked off with. Should Sony own up to it? Should they make an announcement, like even on their weekly podcast? Should they say, hey, we have this new policy. We are affecting games in Japan. This is why. Should they do that?
They have no obligation to do that, but like
Yeah.
they certainly could.
They shouldn't be sued because of it, but I think it's good business. I think it's good. It's just a nice gesture to be transparent about those things. I'm always in favor of transparency, but it's
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
I just, I think you would get laughed out of the room if you ever if you talk to an executive and they're like, why would I do that?
I
Like,
feel
Exactly, yeah.
I mean, I think specifically because this is something that's happening in the Japanese market. I feel like it would, for most of the PlayStation audience, come across a bit strange if it came up on a podcast or on the PlayStation blog. I feel like this is just one of those things where, yeah, be transparent in a way, but be transparent in when Kotaku asks you a question about this, and people that are looking into it want to know and want a response from Sony.
Sure.
Give them as much of
right.
the story as you can, but it would be weird to like pop open your inbox and here's a letter about this stuff going on.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay.
Like if like 3% of your install base is worried about it, don't inform the other 97% about an issue they've never heard of. For sure.
Sure. Yeah, it's an interesting question. It's a weird thing that's happening currently. Yeah. I wish that I'd done more research on it. But it's like, it's also just like,
I just tried and it's hard.
it's
I couldn't-
really hard.
I couldn't find it from like the only sites that are talking about this I hadn't necessarily heard of or were forum posts.
Exactly, yeah. And,
So-
and like most of the games, it's like games I can't care about because they are visual novels. It's just like, you know, I don't know. Yeah, it's tough because it's the game. Like, if they take away your softening cream, I'm not sad for you, you know, but at the same time, it's an interesting policy thing. Yeah, it's cool. I want to do a real quick one. This one we can get through really fast, and it's way more fun. From Jeremy Ferris. Jeremy Ferris. Love and respect. Was Zelda month coming to a close? Didn't know it was Zelda month. Did you know it was Zelda month, Dummy?
Zelda month?
Who says Zelda month?
Anyway, Zelda month is coming to a close.
Okay.
I would like to set a challenge upon the allies. Rank all the 2D Zeldas. These will include
gosh.
Legend of Zelda,
This is quick.
Zelda 2. Yeah, we're going to do this. We're going to knock this out. Zelda 2, A Link to the Past, Link's Awakening, Oracle of Ages,
Yeah, there's a
Oracle
whole lot
of
of
Seasons, Four Swords Adventures, Phantom Hourglass, Spirit Tracks,
I
Link
don't
Between
count-
Worlds,
wait, I
Triforce
object
Heroes.
to that definition.
Best of luck, and may the way of the hero lead to the Triforce. Okay, so we're going to knock
Phantom
some out
Hourglass
immediately.
and
Okay,
Spirit Tracks are not 2D.
okay, so we're
Oh,
knocking
That's
out.
true. Oh yeah.
It's not just graphically.
Yeah,
Like
Wind Waker
they're top.
sequels.
They're top down, but
Yeah.
like they have different
I'm with
top
him.
down perspectives at some points, but then it changes perspective.
So does Link
It's-
2? So does
No, for
Zelda
significant gameplay portions
Yeah,
of it.
there's
are
a side-scrolling action game in Zelda 2.
Yeah, but it's still,
still 2D.
so it's 2D. It's 2D sprite work, so that
Yeah.
fits that immediately right there. So it can't be a 3D game.
There's no camera controls in any
Yeah.
of those other games. There are
Even
camera
a Link
controls
Between
in
Worlds,
Phantom Hourglass?
A Link
Yeah,
Between
yeah.
Worlds, it's fixed always, except for when you go into like the canvas mode, the painting mode, which is a gameplay mechanic. But that's still a 2D plane.
So the exception you're making is the world exploration. When I'm on my boat and
Phantom
when I'm in my
Hourglass,
train, there
yeah.
is camera control.
Oh,
It's
yeah.
3D camera control and all that stuff. Yeah, those are not like
Okay.
it's an in between the traditional 3D and like 2D, but like I would not classify that as
All right, those are
2D. I would
disqualified.
never say 2D Zelda and say Spirit
Yep.
Tracks and Phantom Hourglass in that sentence.
We have 10 left. I want to kill more. I want to kill Four Swords and Four
both
Swords
Four
Adventures.
Swords, so they're
yeah.
Four
Four
very
Swords is
bottom.
part of. I mean, it's a separate thing.
Yeah, but I'm killing them.
It's
They're
easy.
gone.
Just put it. It's the bottom. It's
Yeah.
the worst one.
Yeah.
You don't have to kill it. Just
Well,
put it last.
Triforce Heroes is the worst one.
No, Four Swords is the worst.
Whoa, really? Worse
Four
than Triforce
Swords is
Heroes?
the worst.
Okay.
Really?
Four Swords is this is
Whoa.
repetitive, randomly generated like grind fest of like it's not good. It is very bad.
All right, so
I
Four-
only played through it out of like obligation because I was like I'm finishing every Zelda game
So
ever.
Four Swords on the
Did
bottom.
you play it with people?
Yeah, it's no like Triforce Heroes is better with people.
Okay.
Like, Triforce Heroes at least has more to it. It's not great either, but I'd rather play Triforce Heroes with other people or solo than I'd rather play Four Swords.
Four Swords
is-
on the bottom. Four Swords Adventures above that.
No,
but still
Triforce
low.
Heroes is below. Like Four Swords Adventure is not bad.
Oh, okay. But it's still 9th. Or sorry,
yeah,
it's 8th.
it's gonna be
It's
like
our new number 8.
Four Swords,
Yeah.
Triforce Heroes, and actually, you know what? Triforce Heroes, that's not a 2D. Cut that out.
Oh, okay. Why?
Yeah.
That's totally 2D.
No, it's not.
Zelda Month at his event started by Peanut Butter Gamer.
Okay.
Oh, okay. All
I
right.
don't know who
hey,
that is.
It's a month.
Okay.
Thank you.
I know
You
what
know
that
BBJ?
is, but I thought it was just his own thing. I didn't know it was became like a.
It's
big
a thing. So Triforce here, like A Link Between Worlds is 2D Zelda. Triforce Heroes is 2D Zelda.
Yeah,
we got to stop.
Sorry,
getting
yeah.
that. Okay.
Okay. So
okay.
Four Swords,
Yeah.
OG,
Yes.
Triforce Heroes,
Yeah.
Four Swords Adventures.
Yes.
I think we can get those.
Then
right
A
at
Link
the
to the
bottom.
Oh,
Yes.
okay. So I think I've only Adventures of GameCube.
Here's why you
right?
wanted to do this.
Yes.
Okay, I never played the OG one.
Yeah.
So that-
The GameCube one is much better than Triforce
Okay.
Heroes.
Yeah.
I'm talking about the original Game Boy Advance that came only with the Link to the Past update version.
Yeah, all right.
So I think we do put a. I don't know. I
That was
think
released the 25th anniversary.
the two
standalone.
Capcom games go next, or both the Oracle games.
what are
Yes.
you
Well,
talking
Link
about?
is higher than those games.
Stop,
The
stop,
Oracle,
stop,
like
stop,
Yes.
stop.
Okay,
Link's
okay.
Awakening. Yeah.
All right.
All right. The Minish Cap is probably
Minish
after
is
all those.
pretty low, yeah.
I would say.
You know what's funny?
I
That's
think both.
missing from this list, but you're right. Minish Cap is in there. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So the Minish Cap should the Oracle games are both better than Minish Cap.
Okay.
I agree. I actually agree with you big time.
So then, so we got Four Swords, Triforce Heroes,
Yep.
Four Swords Adventures.
Yep.
Now the Minish Cap.
Yes.
All right. As much as I love this game and I always like fight for it and stuff, I accept that the overwhelming majority of people do not like this game. So I'll back down always. I think Zelda 2.
Nope.
I would fight really strongly for this, but like I will accept it. I won't die on that hill.
You're saying you're putting Zelda 2 beneath the Oracle games.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Of course.
You too, Jones?
I've never played the Oracle games, so I don't know.
Okay, Zelda 2 goes beneath the Oracle games,
But then the Oracle games,
but then the Oracle games.
because Link to the Past and Link's Awakening and the first game have
here's
to
the
be...
thing.
Yeah, and then that's all
On
we have
top.
left.
I
Yeah.
need outside input on this for the original Legend of Zelda.
Okay.
Because I'm going to give an analogy here. I think the original Metroid is a really bad game.
Yes.
Super Metroid is amazing and took every concept that Metroid
okay.
tried to do. But like,
And then
is
Metroid Prime.
Get on that mic!
is to most people, is that how they feel about the original Legend of Zelda and A Link to the Past? Like, do they think today, 2018, do you think Legend of Zelda is pretty bad?
I'm only going to say this because I am on this table. I would never offer this opinion because I don't want to dump on games other people like, but the very first Legend of Zelda is an incredibly boring game to me. It's just like...
Yeah,
I I appreciate it for what it is and what it was at the time. But like looking back now, like when NES Classic came out, it's like, I'm not going to
I
spend time playing
cannot
this,
see
like-
it as any other way than as I see it,
Right.
which is not how a lot of people see it, I feel.
Actually, so Link Between Worlds, I don't think we've ranked.
So maybe we should go back to the top.
Sure.
I think Link's
Awakening is
Link's
number one.
Awakening,
Yes.
A Link to the Past, and Link Between Worlds are your top three.
Yeah.
And we just get like,
Are we all in agreement with that?
but I don't
And
think
the
that's
other
the
is, like,
order.
number
I don't know if
four,
that's
and
the
then
order.
That's the order. You nailed it.
No, I don't know about the order.
Link's Awakening is the best 2D Zelda.
Link Between Worlds didn't hit me as hard as it hit Damiani for sure.
Do you remember the ending, Blood? Like, the ending's good.
Amanda played it, loved it.
Yeah.
Loved it.
Link Between Worlds
I would
actually,
put a
like,
Link.
really good.
I put a Link Between Worlds below both.
I would definitely put it
Link's
below those
Awakening-
two.
Like Link's Awakening, the top two are Link's Awakening and Link to the Past.
Yeah.
And I feel we're gonna have to like have a vote here on which is the top one. I don't think it's gonna be settled.
No,
between-
vote. I'm the moderator, and I already chose.
Oh, okay. So why are we even participating in this game?
Hey, he said it'd be
Now,
quick.
let's make the list.
But yeah, going back to the original Zelda, it's tough because I think that without a guide, like a lot of it does kind of feel obscure and random, just jumping into it. The weird thing for me, going back to your like defending Zelda 2, I actually got into Zelda 2 first. I could never get into the first Zelda game. I got into Zelda 2 first.
Me too.
I liked it more for whatever reason. I think partly because of the music and the fact that it had like more defined towns and things like that.
Leveling up.
There's more components to it. Yeah,
yeah. it's
and
cool.
then
it's drastically
and then
different.
I was like, okay, I like this series. I go back, and then I enjoyed the first Zelda. But I still I played that first Zelda game with the game atlas.
so
you
yeah.
know?
So here's the
playing
thing.
through it without it just seemed kind of unfathomable.
Almost all of the things you think are like really cryptic about that game, aside from the messages, are explained in the manual. You would never know how
Right.
to bomb a wall except you came across like one NPC who suggests there's a secret in the next room. And you're like, wait, what? Even that's like not a good clue.
And grumble.
But the game manual does explain a lot of these like mechanics in there.
Yeah.
But it's not explained in the actual game anywhere. And in 2018, people were like, what the hell? Bomb a
But
wall?
even knowing
Burn
the
a
bomb
bush?
stuff, like,
yeah.
I don't play open world games being like, bomb this tree, or this tree,
Yeah.
or this tree. It's like, that's
Sure,
just not
dude.
the way I want to explore
Yeah,
it.
Yeah.
you
No,
know?
I
Like,
get it.
yeah.
Like, you don't want to have to like try like
yeah.
I accidentally dropped a bomb on an enemy and it was near a wall. Oh, it blew open a hole. Oh, I didn't know. Like that's
Like even
not
if they
the
make
best. Yeah.
small changes on the NES Classic to that game, and they didn't need to. Like this
Yeah.
is just personally my tastes. Even if you had something where it's like you've been to this square before, just that, where I could see the world that I was unlocking, and or there's something mysterious in this thing that you're missing. Like, oh, okay, then I'll find it in this space if I know something's there. But like bombing every single pixel,
I
it's
don't.
just like-
I don't think
you.
the quote unquote
Yeah.
pixel hunting is like what made that game even good at the time. I think the strongest asset of the original Legend of Zelda is just the nature of the world to explore and go in
yeah.
different directions.
Yeah.
And being able to go into these like dungeon environments that we like even compared to today, that I can go in so many different orders and stuff, and I can get so far into a dungeon before something informs me I don't have the key item.
And I think
That-
one of the
that's a
best
little
dungeon themes still.
Oh, the actual music.
I love that dungeon theme.
Oh yeah,
Oh,
the
yeah.
score is
Simplistic
eternal.
music.
Yeah.
But like for me personally, like it kind of reminds me of GTA 3, where it's like genre defining, groundbreaking, by not even close to the best in the series.
Sure.
Not even close.
Yeah, like that's
It's
how I
like,
attribute
I think about it
yeah.
nostalgically with fondness, but if we're ranking stuff, like no, there's
Like,
Hurts to
Vice
put it
City
4, but I
destroys
get
it.
it.
San Andreas destroys Vice City.
Yeah, I get putting it 4.
You want to
cool
put
with
it 4?
That's what you put it.
No,
yeah.
I put it below the Oracle games.
No, you put Zelda 2 below the Oracle games.
I'm gonna put the original Legend of Zelda
No,
below the
I
Oracle
won't allow
games.
it. We're moving on.
We haven't even talked about them. Jeez,
The Oracle games,
they're really good.
they're good.
No, they're really good.
Nah, it's to me,
Kyle.
Oracle games is like when Zelda becomes a formula. It's like the birth of it just becoming a straight up
This is gonna
formula.
be another 10 minutes.
Yeah, sorry.
No.
It's time for Aura Wars. Come to my window. Come inside. Wait by the
Or Wars.
Who wants in?
Me.
All right, Jones. Lady Gaga playing Bayonetta or Ariana Grande playing Mario Kart 8?
Lady Gaga playing Bayonetta.
Why?
Very specific notes on Twitter. Not just this game was fun. She's mentioning bosses. She's mentioning
Sure.
weapons. She is in.
Who wants in next?
I'll go in.
Buying a PlayStation Classic or cleaning your bed sheets?
I'm gonna go buy a PlayStation Classic.
Oh, bold choice.
Incorrect.
Why? Why?
If I'm probably not likely going to do it. I still think there's enough there. It's not the best of these classic consoles that have come out, but there are games that are worth playing, and enough of them that at that cheap price and just the novelty of having that many PlayStation, the old controllers. It's there's things there that you can get into.
That cheap price? A bunch of people walking around with $100 bills in their hands? Okay. Who's in next?
Sure.
Okay, Damiani, you have our first 3 banger of the year.
What?
Live action Aladdin trailer or live action Lion King trailer or live action Dumbo trailer?
I have not seen the live action Dumbo trailer. Oof. So I'm gonna have to go between the other two. So here's the
Disqualified.
You got to go fast.
any of this.
Or where's this fast, Damiani?
all right. I'm gonna go with Aladdin, because the Lion King to me was already an animated film, and just making it CG is literally gonna be the same exact movie. And they already made a great movie of it. Whereas Aladdin, they're doing complete live action, so they have at least the chance to present it in a bit of a different way. And I don't think either look that appealing to me, but I'd just go with Aladdin. It's not a great answer, but whatever.
Ian,
Put me in.
Just Cause 4 total sales or Darksiders 3 total sales?
Just Cause 4 total sales.
Were you peeking at Jones?
I have no idea.
Were you peeking at Jones?
I don't even know what this question is asking.
You're
me.
disqualified.
What?
You're disqualified.
I wasn't looking at Jones.
Were you peeking at Jones?
I was not looking at Jones.
I feel bad.
I was looking at my mic because I don't understand what
Not
you're
a
even
good answer for
asking me.
yours, bud.
Which one's better?
Yes.
No. That's not how Aura Wars works. You just pick one. And it's
Then
defined.
I pick
The
cleaning
terms
your
are
damn
defined by the
bed sheets.
answer you give.
Yeah, cleaning your
bed
bed sheet.
because you have a refreshed feeling and you got something out of
There
it.
you go. You feel better after you clean your bed sheets. You're not gonna feel better after playing the PlayStation.
If you
Classic.
wanted that one, you should have jumped in on the second round.
I know.
They always go too fast. I have to turn up a dial before I can speak.
The winner of Aura Wars is Brandon Jones. Let's talk about patreon.com/easyallies before we finish this podcast. That is the website you would go to learn more about the Easy Allies, but also support the Easy Allies on a monthly basis. Interesting to those of you who watch and listen to this podcast, you can get it 2 days early if you're a $5 or up patron of Easy Allies. That is also how you would be able to submit to Love and Respect and recruit me. Now.
And
Huh.
with new sponsor slots, well, old sponsor slots that were previously held by other people, but as Blood mentioned, if you'd like to be a sponsor of the Easy Allies podcast for the month of
Let's call them
December,
fresh sponsor slots. I don't want to
Super
call it old.
fresh.
Yeah, they're fresh.
we have cleaned the sheets of those sponsor slots.
Yes, we have.
And they are yours for $500 for the month of December if you would like me to talk about the stuff you're doing.
Or if you would like to gift that to someone.
You can do that as well. You've had that in the past.
I guess you could.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, you're right. And some people have like gifted a different one each month and just like, hey, this week we're repping you. We have to see if Knight Seraphis has survived. Again, this is the Knight who's a really good guy.
I got a question. I thought about thinking about this the entire podcast.
Yeah.
If Knight Seraphis is fighting against evil and becomes our enemy, what
Yeah.
does that make us?
We're evil.
Ugh. I'm not ready to be evil.
Also, like,
I fought so hard to not be.
can he choose which way to make the L go? Because then he's just basically walking
too
in
late.
a straight
It's too
line
late.
that slightly zigs
It's
a foot
tough.
or two to
I don't
the
think he
right
can
or
go
left.
backwards.
Well, yeah, but he just has to go like up and left, then up and right, then up and left, and it's like he's going in a basically straight line. It's not even that big of a detriment.
No, I think he's got to move only forward like a chessboard. And so I think there's
can
like
move
a...
back?
What's up?
You can move back.
Can you?
Chessboard? Yeah, you just
Yeah,
have to
chess,
move in that
yeah,
L
you
shape.
can move
4
back.
spaces and the last
Also, you
one's
can
got
go
it.
up
Or
and
the
then
first
one
one.
to the left.
Knights can
and
move
then
back?
Just do
Yeah,
Joey.
exactly.
Joey's in
Of
any
course.
direction.
Okay.
And
so-
they can jump.
I just think it'd be annoying. I think he does it in a very annoying way. But yeah, Damiani did not want him. Too vanilla for Damiani, in fact. So now we have to see if he survives again. Last month in November, we added a 10% bonus, so he's got a 30% chance to live. He lived.
No.
He lived!
Yes! Yes! Knight Seraphis lives!
This honor-bound enemy we
Yes!
have.
So it's him, the guy who could see
One day in the
only
future.
one day in the future, but not the present.
Yes.
Slytherin Steve?
No,
Slytherin
Slytherin Steve
Steve's
on our
Phillips
team.
is on our team.
Yeah.
Who's the other one?
We gotta keep track of this.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Oh,
we do.
man. I'm so pumped that guy lives. I can't wait for him to destroy this party. We have it coming. We've somewhere along the way we've lost our way.
Well, now you're selling me on a finale.
Yeah.
Like, you
yeah.
better deliver, Kyle.
We gotta act
It's
with
your
them.
bit. I
Yeah,
want to.
I'll figure that out.
But also, like,
I want the Infinity War version of this bit.
Yeah.
In 2019, make it happen.
Yeah.
we could always outrun this guy, though, by just going
It's
in
true.
a straight line.
Yeah. Just scatter.
The thing
Yeah,
is,
going 3 different
Scatter or find some interior.
it's still turn-based battle, and you know what I mean. Like there's gonna be some
Wait,
element.
it's turn-based now?
We learn new details every week, Ian. And I would not be surprised if he specifically said it's not turn-based at an earlier podcast. That's now going back on that. Oh, no.
Yeah, and so I mean, like he will be able to catch you in a turn-based battle, but yeah, his movement is limited
Why?
for sure.
No, that's not true, Kyle, but sure.
What do you mean that's not true?
We could always just take our turn and move away from him.
He might have a higher speed stat.
Well, I was assuming D&D, like, everyone has a similar speed. So, yeah. Well, then that's another reason to have him in the... Ugh.
He's gone. He's with the bad guys now. Oh, you know what it was? It was like this annoying orc who can like absorb all damage
Oh,
and like
right.
heal
Yeah.
you, but he's really annoying and he like wants everybody to feel guilty about it.
Yeah.
That's the other
So
bad
now that
guy.
time traveler guy's just whispering in his ear now. Just like, oh, they rejected you.
Though I think about yeah, that's interesting.
Our enemies are very
You move
powerful.
just as
Yeah.
I want you to move.
I was trying to think of
You're
the
perfect.
limitation of a guy who can see one day in the future, and basically it's just really hard to remember what he saw yesterday. So he's trying to tell you about the future today, but he also has to recall it. It happened 24 hours ago that he saw the future of a day ago.
Well, but also he only sees one day ahead. So he's
Yeah.
living entirely in the next day.
Right. He's
which
hearing
is
our
basically
conversation
impossible.
right now. Yeah, and trying to remember what he saw yesterday as he's seeing tomorrow.
I don't even know if he experiences a conversation in the present.
He
I
can.
don't-
He can
I don't
talk to
think-
you.
I don't know. It doesn't specify.
It's sight. It was specified as sight.
Thinking
so he
about
only
recruit me hurts
sees
my brain.
in the future. Okay.
Yes. Yep,
But he
yep,
can
yep.
hear and touch and feel in the present.
Right.
So he's essentially blind in the present.
Yeah. Sure.
Whoa. That's a mind boggler.
It's a mind boggler. Jones, you were the winner of Horror Wars. You have the right and responsibility to share your Twitter handle with the world. You get to promote any Easy Eyes video you would like to promote.
Oh.
You get the final word on anything you've disagreed with, want to reiterate, or just popped into your head. And you get to sign off with your trademark sign off.
You can follow me at Trailer Jones. I think Just Cause 4 is going to sell more than Darksiders 3. And if you are today's the day you can't get into Red Dead. Even tomorrow, if you're like, oh no, I played it like 5 days late. I didn't know these arbitrary rules were coming up. And you're just like, I'm hungry. I'm beating the campaign. I'm done with post game. I'm just waiting for online. Now I'm just stuck for 24 hours and I'm dying for some good Western juice. And I need something. May I recommend No Redemption, written and performed by Mr. Ian Hink, that is currently available on youtube.com/easyallies. It is an almost 30-minute musical starring yours truly and Kyle Bossman and some other fun guest stars, and deserves your attention. It's a wonderful piece of
Do
art.
you sing?
I do sing, and I mouthed me singing very poorly. Ian covered it best he could.
It was a 16-hour shoot day.
Nothing beats staring into the eyes of another actor, and your expression says, "I sang this previously, but now don't remember the words."
Oh yeah.
Confident. I love that. Like Noah did a cover of it that was better than mine. I'm sure Noah worked much harder.
Noah does
on
that.
Noah's version.
People
I
do
did
a lot
on the
of
actual
covers. They're always
performance in the
better.
actual show. But it's really cool, and we just like Box Peak, it's just fun to see other allies be just like, I made a thing. Here we go. So check it out. No Redemption. And cheers.
I forgot to conclude Our Wars. Do not finish this podcast yet. Do not finish this podcast. Come to my window. Come inside. Wait by the
Or wars.
Wars. What do you mean you let him out? Turned out to be a koala.